Also, our first speaker, Dr. Annette Ofune-Akinchete, please come to the high table. Our second speaker, Adegoke Omotola, please come, sir. And our third speaker, Madame Monika Owenu, please come to the high table. Okay, so we're going to go swiftly on to welcome remarks, right? We have the incredible journey with selfish curiosity. I cannot forget that. Madame Uru Ngozi Chukuka. I cannot forget that. Please come. Okay, madam, I'm going to have to give you the mic right down here so we can make your welcome remarks. Is that fine? You come here. All right, fantastic.
Good morning and welcome to the Pride Women Conference, where emotional well-being is our goal, as always. It's nice to have you back. A lot of us have always been here with us, so welcome. Our distinguished chairperson, eminent facilitators, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you to this 7th edition of the Pride Women Conference. The theme for this year's conference is Self-Love, Key to Emotional Well-Being. This requires introspection, requiring us to ask a simple yet difficult question. Do I love myself? It can be a sober reflection as we take stock and evaluate whether we love and value ourselves. In our journey through life, the confounding challenges can be so daunting and overwhelming that we oftentimes do not take the needed time to look after and care for ourselves. But loving ourselves can help in coping better and more effectively with life's curveballs. What is self-love? According to Geoffrey Borenstein, president of Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, self-love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. An aspect of self-love is self-care, which involves focusing on our basic needs as humans, be they nutrition, sleep, exercise, and social connections. By practicing self-care, we become mindful that we should not take these seemingly basic things for granted. They are what keep us strong, alert, and agile in the world. Each one of us is unique and different. This being so, the way we treat ourselves with high regard, care, and respect will be unique and different, but it requires that we take time in developing healthy habits and being mindful of what gives our bodies, spirits, and minds and souls nourishment. It could be forgiving ourselves for the mistake or for not being true to your principle no matter the circumstances, or taking steps back from the daily grind and just rejuvenate by exploring your creativity. But at the core of it all, self-love is truly about accepting and being kind to ourselves, prioritizing ourselves so we can give life our best shot and give others the best of ourselves, while still making room to continually grow and improve. With the continuous practice of self-love comes confidence, high self-esteem, and it actually gets easier to make right choices for daily nourishment. To Today, the chairperson, the speakers will share their valuable insights based on their experiences on this all-important topic of loving and taking care of ourselves. We also invite you all to share your own insights during the interactive session of this conference. We can learn and grow positively by sharing our experiences and insights. I'm grateful to God Almighty for His grace as the conference continues to provide a space for us to contemplate life's most pressing concerns and draw strength from one another. I thank you all for your support and attendance at our conferences. I also thank our sponsors and numerous benefactors for their continued support, which has made it possible for us to hold this conference for the past 7 years. I wish us all fruitful deliberation. Once again, I say thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Short and sweet. Now we shall proceed to introduction of the first speaker. Please, audio, can you just confirm this mic for me, yeah, so that I know whether we're going to be using one mic or two mics? So our first speaker is Dr. Annette Ofunia-Kinshete. She is the CEO, National Director of the Sickle Cell Foundation, Nigeria. I want to confirm the microphones first so that I know whether you have a nice loud microphone. Where is that, sorry? Okay, so I didn't see that. Sorry. Before the first speaker, we have to have the chairperson, Madam Grace Orife. She's the MD CEO of Adela Energy Limited. Please, could we welcome her? Would you like to stay there or over there? Okay.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I say good morning. And I can say it in French because French is my mother language. Bonjour. My sincere gratitude goes to the Pride Magazine Nigeria for the honor to deliver the key address at this thoughtful gathering, the Emotional Well-Being Conference. I consider it thoughtful because most conferences are commercial or industry-focused. We have lots of industry-focused conferences, especially in my area, in energy. We have so many, we can have 4 or 5 a month. But this is extremely thoughtful. Therefore, organizing a conference which solely focuses on mental health and emotional wellness is commendable, as it is a crucial factor to human functioning. When we talk about a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being, we are speaking of their mental health. How one feels, thinks, and behaves is influenced by their mental state. This is why maintaining good mental health is crucial throughout all ages, from adolescence to adulthood. Throughout the decades, mental health has not had a much heightened awareness as it has received in this era. Little to no attention has been paid to the emotional health of human beings. However, despite countless talks and initiatives highlighting the significance of one's mental health and emotional stability, most African countries allocate less than 1% of their budget to mental health care. The Federal Republic of Nigeria allocates roughly about 3.3% to 4% of its health budget to mental health. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, Women are more likely than men to develop mental disorder and other forms of depression, including perinatal depression, premenstrual psychotic disorder, and depression connected to perimenopause. Unemployment and isolation impact on our mental health. Not to mention that we must also deal with the injustice and abuse that stems from gender discrimination. All the challenges, whether biological or sociocultural, affect the self-esteem and emotional stability of women. Notwithstanding the complexity of mental health challenges women face, resources and treatment alternatives are available to help women lead healthy lives. Sometimes, the simplest advice is the most effective and may begin with something as fundamental as self-love. Often, self-love is seen by many as futile or even as egotistical endeavor, with many blog entries and social media posts urging people to love themselves without much substance to their advice. The concept of self-love may seem like a nebulous one. However, there is a wealth of scientific evidence that suggests loving oneself can improve one's mental health, sense of self and love, and level of happiness in life. Society has put so much pressure on women, whether it's pressure to be perfect homemaker or caretaker, attain certain beauty standards, or be constrained in their ambition, that it can sometimes feel easier to lose all forms of self-pride and neglect our psychological safety and personal creativity. Though society may label self-love as sometimes being selfish, the concept is simple about identifying our needs and working towards self-betterment rather than sacrificing our welfare for others. Everything starts in the mind. Hence, putting little to no value on ourselves is a formula for disaster. Although at times it can feel like a battlefield in our heads between the critic and the nurturer, I want us to remember that we can win the battle. We need to. In fact, we must move beyond every self-sabotaging or stereotypical beliefs and accept that we are deserving of love, stability, and success. Self-love is key to emotional wellness. And another way to achieving that is by setting healthy boundaries. Do not leave room for people to disrespect you. Your time or value, whether at work or at home. We women need to disengage and the yes autopilot and start learning to say no to protect our time and energy. By being acceptive, staying in control of our narrative, understanding the core values that create our being, we are in a better position to serve, whether as mothers, as wives, as leaders, as CEO, public officers, and so on. Part of practicing self-love is learning to speak up for ourselves. Back in the day, we were not taught to speak up. We are taught to be peacemakers and home builders. We were not taught to speak our truth and fight for our rights. We had to endure unfairness and practice self-sacrifice, all in the name of being virtuous. That's a Proverb 31 woman. Up to now, some of us are in constant battle with imposter syndrome, constantly asking, am I a good enough mother? Am I capable of doing my job? Even when it's obvious that you are doing your best. Another common behavior among many women is downplaying or not taking a compliment when it's given. No matter how great or small our accomplishments may be, we should take joy in celebrating ourselves and be confident without having to apologize for it. Before leaving your house, take a look, a good one, in the mirror. Admire yourself, hype yourself up. And if you don't already have a daily mantra, now is a great moment to start. Recite it often. I am God's peacemaker. I am God's peace. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am smart. When you repeat something to yourself, you begin to see the world from that perspective, which finally manifests in your thoughts and action. I therefore encourage us to take self-love more seriously for the sake of our emotional well-being. As for help, ask for help when it's in need. Relax or go on a vacation when you feel exhausted. You name it, and you deserve it, and you will earn it. Be mindful of the type of people and energy around you before you become your own caregiver. We are a powerful set of creatures, and our well-being has a major impact in the general affairs of things. So, we must love ourselves well enough to dream big and to be the change that we seek in our homes, place of work, and society at large. Self-love is the second summary of the law of the Lord, which says, love your neighbor as yourself. If we don't love ourselves first, we cannot love others. We cannot give what we do not have. And we cannot expect society to treat us well if we don't see ourselves as deserving. Though there will always be someone who doesn't see your worth, don't let that person be you. Distinguished guests, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. I think this is okay. All right, this is much louder. Thank you so much. I took down some notes. Yeah, it was just a nice, amazing speech. So this 3.3% to 4% of the whole federal government of Nigeria budget only being put to mental health, that's just scary, man. That's why we have people just walking around and you think that they're okay, but something is just sticking. You know, like when you're like driving around Lagos, as in you have to be like psychologically imbalanced to be driving in Lagos. I don't know, but when you leave Lagos and you drive somewhere else, you're like, this is nice. Lagos, you just like really gang. And I think most of the people that have mental imbalance issues will most likely be in Lagos. I haven't done a research on it, but I'm gonna actually put some people to that. I'm gonna get the students in the school to go around doing. I'm serious, because then you go to the village, you're like, hello, peace be with you. I'm like, peace be with you, right? So I took that note. Thank you for that. 3.3%. And then what I actually loved was when you were talking about autopilot. You know, I didn't really think about that, but I think that's true. Women are like on autopilot. You're like, can you do that? Okay. Should we do that? Okay. And I never thought about that. So thank you so much for bringing that to my consciousness. And then you mentioned something that really kind of struck me as well, the self-love sometimes being misinterpreted as selfish. You know, I kind of feel guilty sometimes when I'm like, okay, let me just have me time, right? And I have a voice at the back of my head saying, yeah, just being selfish. So I completely identify with that. So I'm hoping that throughout this conference, I could get less guilty and learn to love myself more. And then the part about energy sapping, when she said, be mindful of the people around you that just sap your energy, right? I was like, yes. Thank you so much. Okay, I could go on forever, but we have other speakers. So we're going to now call upon the speaker number 1. Sapping your, who said that? Who said sapping energy? Yeah, you're feeling me, Shebi? No, I'm feeling you. Okay, so next speaker is Dr. Annette Ofune Akinshata. Gang. This is a fantastic mic, so I'll use this one. Fantastic. So, making hay while the sun shines. Steps to psychosocial. This is deep. Steps to psychosocial well-being in old age. We need this, man. You know, use this mic. This mic is like, okay, sure.
Sister EJ Love. I'm sorry, I'm not the one supposed to call you EJ Love, but permit me today. That's what she gets called, EJ Love. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful, wonderful conference. I think it's just apt that we begin to address issues that really concern women deeply and bring them to the fore. Thank you, thank you. And somehow I feel, if you believe in numbers, I say 7. 7 is a lucky number. And I'm speaking at this 7th one. I feel it's a good omen. Thank you for inviting me to the 7th one. Please, I want to crave your indulgence. If you're on this side of the hall, kindly move to the side. The screen is small, and I really would like you to see some of the slides. Many of them are pictures. Pictures, they tell you, are like 1,000 words. It's like 1,000 words, so you can explain. You go away with the picture in your mind. There are a lot of chairs on this side. Just move over, then we can work together. Please work with me. Thank you. And I'd like the slides on the screen, please. The presentation on the screen. Wherever we are. I looked across the room and I saw children. I said, fantastic. We're making hay while the sun shines. We're preparing for old age from the beginning. But who best? In fact, if you don't go away with anything today, just go away with one thing. That is to say, if you situate yourself with God Almighty, your Creator, the pictures. adulthood, old age. I think I see all of us here across this way. I saw children there. Childhood, they're playing, but I'm sure some things will enter there as they're listening. Okay, so these are the pictures that tell us that these are life seasons. Childhood, adolescence, of course it's fluid, adulthood and old age. Next slide, please. And then this is how they capture the seasons. These are not our seasons in Nigeria, but we can think about it that way. These are the seasons of life. Spring. Spring speaks to newness. That's when, you know, in the temperate world, in those parts of the world where the climate is, the first season is referred to as spring. That is when there's newness. That is what we draw a parallel with childhood. Childhood is our spring. Summer is our youth. Autumn, that is fall, is adulthood. And then winter is old age. That is a way to just categorize it. Just put it in buckets across. Next slide. Okay, let's dig deeper. If you look at spring as the age from 0 to 20, when you're finding yourself, when you're learning, that season of learning, growing, finding yourself, that's age 0 to 20, spring. Summer is like 20 to 40. That time you're still learning and growing, you're perfecting your skills. You're trying to be perfect where you are, you're working, you're distinguishing yourself. Fall or autumn is that season of life between the ages of 41 and 59. You're not yet 60. In Nigeria, the retirement age in the public sector is 60. So this time, at this age, you're working. You are now becoming yourself, coming into your own. You're influencing society. You've mastered yourself. And then winter is 60 years and above. You're retired now. In Nigeria, I'm focusing on our country. You have a deep insight at this time. You are now reflective. And you are beginning to say, okay, I can invest in the younger people, the younger generations. Next slide. Okay, this is a very busy slide, but I'll pick on something. But at the end of this presentation, what will we know? We know how to define health. And we can explain that emotional well-being and mental health, they are one and the same. We'll see how. We examine the seasons of life and how they influence our mental health. We'll be able to enumerate or list common mental health problems. It's not until you wear rags and go on the streets that you have mental health issues. There are many people who have mental health issues on a daily basis. Many of us, if we sample us. Okay, but I'm happy that that's coming more and more to the fore. We can discuss the causes of mental health problems. And then we can discuss how we can prevent them and how we can manage them. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, quickly, we're going to define health first. The World Health Organization, they are the body that tells us what health is about. And they define health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So you have to be completely well all around. And now there's an expanded definition of health. You now add emotional health. You add spiritual well-being. Otherwise, the person is not completely well, and not merely the absence of disease. Are you with me? Okay, next slide, please. So now, what is mental health? Mental health is part of health, and it refers to. I'm so happy the chairman really delved into it. You've done a lot of the work. It's part of well-being, and it relates to how you think clearly, cognition, making good decisions, behavior, emotion, or feeling. You see, talk of mental health, talk of emotion. So they're parallel. They kind of parallel each other. Okay, and then it's also how this now talking of emotion and feeling, about how you think and feel and behave. And that is all mental health. If you talk of feeling, you're talking of emotions. Optimal mental health, in other words, if you have a sound mental health, you'll be able to cope with life's challenges and all adversities. Life is full of challenges. If you're not balanced in the mind, you cannot face life's challenges. And then you can help you live a happy and healthy life. At the end of the day, that's what we want. Next slide, please. Emotional health on its own is the ability to cope and manage emotions. Nowadays, you go for courses, in fact, say you're going for emotional intelligence. You pay for it, you pay 100,000 naira, and they're teaching you how to deal with emotions. Emotional intelligence, how to be intelligent emotionally. But you find that it's important. If you're working in an environment and you cannot cope with your peers, you're quarreling, you're fired. So you need to have that. So that's also kind of mental health issue. Okay? Emotional health and mental health overlap. Let's bear that in mind today. Next slide, please. Next. Thank you. Work with me. A busy slide. This is spring. I want to talk to you about 0 to 25 years. My baby's there, my children there, okay? This is where, this marks the beginning of life. It's a season where, your character begins to shape. But your parents are so important at this stage. Parents and teachers and communities. What you teach your children in terms of mental health. I remember my mother used to tell me, when I come back home with a result of, I came third in class. Igbo third. First and second, one way, two heads. So you start comparing yourself with other people. But you have to run your, nowadays, parents are more intentional and they learn how to be parents. Make sure your children do not begin to compare themselves with others. From an early age. From early on, they know that they're running their own race. It's even scriptural, it's biblical. I think it's Hebrews 12:1 that says, run your race that has marked out for you with perseverance. So it's biblical. I don't know if our parents in those days did not know all those things. They'll tell you those ones don't have two heads. And so you now go back and start wondering, as a child, you're already having mental health difficulties and challenges. So it's from that age you begin to, be sure, tell yourself, see it in yourself, but it's parents that nurture them. And sometimes parents don't have that capacity. And that is why we in Nigeria and most African communities, we have a lot to gain. Let's remember that it takes a village. It's not only your parents and your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your neighbor. Let's go back to that. Everyone is a parent. It takes a village to raise a child. Not every parent has that capacity, but you can look around and see others that can help you. So it's a season for learning and growing. I'm going to pick out a few things. It's time to make mistakes, learn and move on. It's characterized by curiosity, impulsiveness, and risk-taking. So what I'll take out of this, next slide please, come walk with me, next slide, is that from a young age, parents should inculcate in their children that their race is their race. You are competing against yourself. Don't compare yourself. By the time you begin to compare yourself with others, you move on across life like that. And at other ages of life, other seasons of life, when you begin work, when you begin to marry and so on, you say, this person's husband is buying what are the good cars nowadays? Limo, whatever they buy. And you are buying me Honda. Give a Honda. Please, don't compare. Run your race. That frees you. It frees you from that pressure. And it doesn't matter what age you are. So there's some actions you must take. Like I said, parents are very important. Remember, it takes a village. But as children and young people, be selective about the company you keep. My dad used to tell me, show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are. And it is true. Show me your friends. So be selective, be intentional. Young people, about who you make your friends. Choose them wisely. Okay? And you have a lot of free time at this age. Use your free time wisely. Don't go into drug use. Once you enter drug use, there's almost no turning back. And that's what flips the mind. We have a lot of children that we're dealing with today. It's drug use. And they say it's just cannabis. There's nothing like just cannabis. Don't even taste it. Okay? And then like I said, be intentional with your free time. Learn as much. Keep learning. Build skills. Develop wholesome hobbies. Join communities in your church, societies, and then find a mentor. This business of mentor is very important. It's additional to what your parents can do. It's 0 to 20 years, I think, this age. But remember that by the time you're a teenager, you don't listen too much to your parents anymore. But you can find mentors in church, in school, your teachers, and so on. Next slide. I think I saw a few young people at the back. That applies to next, please. Okay? So take care of your body too. This is where you set the stage for sound mental health in old age. And start learning. And then I mentioned dating here. If dating, date wisely. Date wisely. Choose wisely with guidance. Don't hide. Don't hide dating. Talk to people about it. And then I can't go into that. That's topic for another day. And then learn to start giving back. Charity. You remember they say a river does not drink its own water. Trees and make fruits, but they don't eat their own fruits. You give out. If you don't give out, you cannot be a complete person. So start learning from a young age. If you don't learn from a young age, it won't follow you through life. Okay? And then I think I mentioned here, plan and prepare for old age. It's never too early. The things that cause stress in life, most times, maybe money related. Money related. So start learning to build wealth. saving, investing, building wealth. Find time to rest, to sleep, to pray, to exercise. If you are sick, you cannot be well. Physically sick, physical illness and mental illness go hand in hand. Mind and body work together. So it's important, like I say again, to avoid that tendency to compare yourself with others. This is when we're still young. Next slide. Okay, this is summer of your life, adulthood. By this time you are working, you have started a family, you've got married, you are influencing society. Next slide, please. But it should be all of this. Intentional, innovative, creative, all of that. Why are you doing that? Because you want to be successful. Because in many ways, if you're not successful, you are stressed out. If you're stressed out, you have mental health problems. Mental health problems. So those are challenges we want to avoid. This mentoring business, take it seriously. Be a mentor yourself. It's a two-way thing. As you're mentoring someone, you're also learning. Be a mentor and be a mentee. You should ask yourself, who do I wish to become? Start leaving something. Make plans to leave something behind that will outlive you. What do I want to be remembered for? This is the age when you start to think ahead for that. Okay, next, not when you're old. Next, quickly. Next slide. Next slide. Like I said again, make sure you're planning and preparing for the future. Like I said here, seek guidance or services of wealth managers to build wealth. It's important that about this thing about wealth, because in old age, when you find that you're not earning income anymore, you'd have built that egg nest that you used to take care of yourself, and that stress will no longer be there. Next slide, please. I want to skip many slides. These ones in blue, I want you to note them. Prayer, embrace your faith, find time to exercise. All these things in blue run across all life's courses, the entire life's course, okay? If you are on prescribed medication, please take them. Because if you have a stroke, you cannot be mentally well. You are physically ill, but you cannot be balanced. Physical illness leads to mental illness to a very large extent. Okay, next slide, please. This is the autumn of life. We call this adulthood, middle age between 40 and 65. At that age, you have more than come into your own. You are looking to retirement, as a matter of fact. By this time, you are self-confident. You have come into your own. You are self-aware. But there are some inevitable changes in life that happen. This is a season of change. You see that maybe losing loved ones, and then you have something they call the sandwich phenomenon. You are still a parent, parenting your children, but you have parents that you are looking after as well. They are sandwiched in between. So that responsibility falls on you. That's why it's called the sandwich situation. Many parents in this age still have children who are grown, graduated, but leaving their house, leaving their homes. They don't have jobs sometimes, but so they're taking care of both generations. It's called the sandwich generation, and they have a lot of pressure, and you have to be able to deal with that pressure. Next, please. Okay, so during these later years, there's just that sense of loss, the sense that you've lost your youth, you've lost your beauty, and that's why I love what the chairman said: stand in front of the mirror every day, gray hair and all, and say to yourself. And I think when I listen to Joel Osteen, he's a Pentecostal preacher, and he says, look in the mirror and say, "Hey, you beautiful thing, I love you." And then you leave. No matter how high you look, just say, "Hey, you beautiful thing, I love you." Especially women. Applaud yourself every morning. And those affirmations, those mantras that the chairman said at the beginning, keep them in your mind. So, but besides, instead of feeling that sense of loss and sadness, endeavor to feel gratitude. You've come this far in life. Feel gratitude, feel contentment, take pride in yourself. Love yourself. Chairman emphasized that. If you don't love yourself, how can you love your neighbor? If you don't love your neighbor, there's chaos in society. I think that's what the Bible says. The Bible is a fantastic manual about how we should live our lives. Everything you want is inside. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you can't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor, and there'll be chaos. Next slide, please. I'll get to pictures soon. Next. Autumn of life is the time you say you want to finish strong. And then, like I said, be a mentor to younger ones. Reap the benefits of your hard work over the years and act on your dreams. Many of us have dreams that we have put off because we are raising children, especially women. Women stop work because I have a friend and cousin we struggled through medical school together. She came out of medical school, started having children. Today she has 8 children. At that time she had 8 children altogether. No problem. But if you had a supportive husband, you'd be able to work and raise your children. But she was asked to stop work completely. After her youth course, she stopped work. This was like 40 years ago. and she has not worked one day. And she feels now that she wants to go back to work. But I say it's never too late. Do it. Whatever dreams you have, follow your dream. Want to travel, chase those dreams. Learn new skills. Pursue new interests. Next slide. Okay, again, focus on yourself, love yourself, all that. Exercise keeps coming back. Someone said walk. We are born to walk. That's the way God created us. We are built to walk. No matter how old we are, move, keep moving, and continue to give back. If you don't give back, you'll be frustrated, you'll be choked with what you have in yourself. Next slide. Okay, this is when you listen to the changes in your body. Your body is changing. As a woman, you go through menopause. Menopause is fraught with a lot of physical challenges and psychological and emotional challenges. You're weepy, you're crying, you don't know why you're crying. And then if you don't have a supportive system, you're on your own. So these are things you should be appreciated. Know it and appreciate your family. Let your family support you. Do not try to impress anybody. Cultivate new friendships. Remember to keep your old friends. I'm happy that nowadays with social media, old school friends are coming back together. And as a guide and a brownie, we used to sing, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. So keep friends. Sometimes your family gets too much, so you look out and the friends help you. Next slide, please. Don't cut away my slides. Yes, next one. Okay? I'll skip these ones because winter is important, but it's a season of rest and reflection. That's when you are old. It's old age over 65 years. It's a time when your wisdom should be put into use. You're wise and sagacious. Okay, but it's characterized by what? Longing for the good old days. Oh, those good. Don't long for the good old days if you are old. Make sure that your good old days you planned. If you didn't plan for this old age, you'll be saying good old days. So plan for it. If they long for because of loss of income, loss of influence, and it's true. You leave government. I know what it was like to. When I was director and acting PAMSEC in the Ministry of Health in Abuja, every Christmas I would have to look for space and walk my office, hamper, everywhere to walk. And the day I left the ministry, that was it. The next day, mine is even a small one. You be a minister. And your job, after the new government comes and you leave ministerial office, nobody calls you anymore. So please be sure that you are yourself. When my days, I was myself. I used to carry my laptop myself to the point that when I went for I was a young director. I went for a meeting, and then in the head of services office of all directors. As I said, I was a young director. As doctors, we moved quickly in the civil service. And one of the aides of the head of service came to me and said, please, man, this meeting is only for directors. And I was stunned. What is that? And I now realized that my director beside me said, when you are carrying your laptop by yourself and nobody's following you, as a madam, you have to wear boo-boo. You carry many people are following you with laptop, file. You can't be carrying your file. They socialize you into that. But my staff knew me that you can't carry my bag. My bag is part of my dressing. But so I had to school that young man. He then said, sorry. But that's the way we are. Don't mind them. Be yourself. Be yourself wherever you are, please. And I'm sidetracking. But longing for the good old days will help us. Loss of health is also important, something that happens at this age. This is when all those chronic illnesses, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, stroke may strike. And unfortunately, we don't have money. Your income at this stage, usually you're not getting your usual income. You're a pensioner and you're dependent on your children. You become dependent on children and carers. And then so this is when elder abuse may set in. Imagine you have a stroke, people are looking after you. So whether you like it or not, there'll be depression. So you need help at this stage. Prepare for old age so that business, that bit of wealth will not be a problem. If you have income, you are more than 50% well in mental health. Okay, but also it's a time to enjoy your new life, new experiences. You have free time for yourself, for your family, and all that. And like I said, give back to society. Next slide. I want to get to the pictures quickly. Pat yourself on the back. Time for new bond with your grandchildren. Learn new skills and drawing, painting, writing, photography, and so. Next slide. Next. Okay, I'll just read only that blue one. This one, volunteering and church activities. This is one thing that helps older people. Make sure you give back. Next, next. Again, I have exercise and walking in blue. There's nothing like walk. You see, it releases. Nobody says go to the gym, just walk. It releases what we call endorphins. And those are what we call dopamine. Dopamine is a hormone in the body that makes you feel good. When I walked in here and I heard the strains to technos, allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. When what happens is endorphins are released and you feel good. Your blood vessels, this is physiology. Your blood vessels dilate. Blood pressure drops. Remember, think of pressure. Pressure is when there's a narrowing, volume is low, and the pressure increases. But when your blood vessels dilate, they're wider, pressure drops. Your blood pressure drops. You won't have stroke. Listen to music, walk, exercise. That's what it does. Next slide. So play games, dance, gardening, Ludo. Okay? The winter of life, leave your legacy. Make sure you do your will. Make sure you have a will and you don't leave trouble for your children. Okay? If you don't want to leave your children anything, no problem. I have more and more friends who are leaving their stuff to charity and leaving their children out completely. Let the children work for their own. People are thinking differently nowadays. Okay? But make sure you take care of all that. Acknowledge your wisdom. Use your free time. I've said that many times. Write your memoirs. Write stories. Creative writing. Go on. Next slide, please. So this is the elderly winter season. I love this couple. They're happy. They're elderly. And they're making no bones about it. They're accepting it. So those are the mantras. Accept yourself. Next, next, next. All these diseases. Look at all the diseases that old people can have. If you have all these diseases, you have mental illness as well. There's no way. The list is a lot. You can't see well. You can't hear well. You say, my mom, even my grandmother. Or in Yoruba, they will say, Sorosoke. Sorosoke has a different meaning now. So there's loss of hearing, there's loss of vision, there's loss of everything. You are ill. So you need to have something to really help you show up. Prepare for it and get used to it. Get accustomed to it. Next slide. Next. Too many. And these are the kind of psychosocial problems. That is mental health problems, emotional problems. The list is even more than the list of physical. So please be sure that you're able to cope with them. Next slide. These are all, you see the conjunction, this is like what we call conjunction. The head is confused. There's the simple ones that you might remember are forgetfulness, memory loss. It happens to most of us. You go into a room. Even before I turned 50, I was already forgetting things. I'll go and pick up my key. Where did I come? I'll retrace your steps. You walk back. Okay, what was I doing here? Then you pick up. Okay, this is what I came to do. But the lady that said she picked up a phone to call her husband. Hey, Joe, I'm looking for my phone. Where is it? I can't find my phone. Say, but you're calling me with your phone. I think that one has passed ordinary for me. That one, they should look inside and check that Alzheimer's is not coming. But anxiety, simple things. Anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression. They are real, they're true, they're common across the ages, they're worse in old age, and they keep it to themselves. So people around them have to watch out for what we call red flags. There are always red flags. Next slide. I don't want to. Okay, just here I want to let you know that females more than males, 40% of people more than 60 years of age have mental health problems. About 50%, almost half. And then females more than males. Females more than males. And the consequences are poor relationships and poor quality of life. Next slide, please. Okay, this is, like I said, loss of short-term memory, unclear speech. Like this business of dehydration is very important. I think I shared it in my last lecture in the church, that old people forget to drink water. Even your forgetfulness may be due to dehydration. So please, if you have elderly people who are above 60 and they just remind them to drink water all the time. It may just be due to dehydration, nothing serious. Okay? People over just, yes, and then it can lead to sudden mental confusion, drop in blood pressure, palpitations, angina pectoris, coma, sometimes even death. Next slide. So what to do? Drink water all the time. Next slide. So these are the causes that many. Disappointment in children. Many times we expect so much. Don't expect so much. Manage your expectations. My children, oh, which one is the doctor? It's not a doctor, not an engineer. Nah, let the children be. Live your own life, let them live their life. Don't worry about that. Then reduced mobility, reduced agility, loss of beauty, stigma and discrimination. Yes, there's discrimination against elderly people. Cultural factors. Women that go for omugo neglect their husbands. That is true. For 1 year, they'll be looking after a grandchild and daughter, and then their husbands. Husbands are... Men don't do well in old age. Men do not do well in old age. And if their spouse leaves them for 1 year to do omugo, that's not fair. Okay? The cultural factors that need to be changed. Women, like in my part of Nigeria, where my mother sat on the floor for 1 month because amongst ashes to mourn her husband. Those are practices that have to change. Anybody in that situation can go mad. Okay? But there's some things that happen when you think that you're mentally ill, but they're actually physical illnesses. Next slide, please. I'm running through all this because of time. Changes around retirement. Like I said earlier, people stop calling you and you feel depressed. I don't have friends anymore. What is a lie? They never liked you before. So don't be deceived. It's temporal. It's temporal. They will just do what you can where you are there and find new friends. Next slide, please. They see that rejection. So there's so much that can be done. There's a lot that government can do in terms of policy and legislation, health insurance. Chairman mentioned budgetary allocation to health, and then specifically to mental health. And then to start from a young age, prepare for old age. And this is something that has to be done across the sectors: health, education, youth, social welfare. All the sectors have to work together and come up with a comprehensive policy that addresses issues from childhood to old age. Next slide. Then we on our own as individuals, mental illness in the elderly can be slowed down by lifestyle modification, healthy nutrition, staying physically active, all these ones. Preventing and treating bone loss. Bone loss is a common problem, and it leads to fracture. If there's a fracture and a man is immobilized, depression is times 100. So prevent that fracture by weight training, walking. Never smoke, never ever smoke. Reduce alcohol consumption, and then go for annual checkups. Start early. Next slide, please. Engage social activities, giving back, hobbies, keeping your mind sharp. Play board games in old age. And if you don't learn it as when you are young, you cannot pick it up. But it's good to keep learning. And one other thing that helps to sharpen the mind, like I said earlier, I've shared with you, if you're right-handed, start learning to write with your left hand. Your mind will your brain will make new connections, and you start learning faster. If you're left-handed, start writing with your right hand. Next slide. Support system, very important. You do not live alone because we're social animals. So you need family, you need friends, neighborhood, communities, religious groups, social groups, and so on. Never live alone. Have people around you. That's the way we are built, and that's one of our pluses in Africa. Let's keep it. Let's not lose it. In Europe, when I was doing my postgraduate in England, I was a young woman. I was living alone. Okay, a young woman can live alone, but my neighbor passed away. An older woman. She died and was smelly. She had died for over a week before she was discovered. It was the smell that made the rest of us call the police. So don't live alone, especially when you are old. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, this issue of children and grandchildren. I said this is your time. In old age, it's your own time. Take care of yourself. Let the children look after themselves and their own children. You have done your bit as an older person. Okay, enjoy your grandchildren, but do not break your back taking care of them on behalf of their parents. Women, again, do not spend 1 year away from your husbands doing omugo duties. Next slide. Next, please. It's important. For couples, your winter years are your years for each other. The issue of widowhood, there's widowhood. Women do better as widows than men. We can remarry. Women sometimes look up to Christ as their spouse. But what about men, the widowers? They don't do well without a woman. Many times they're encouraged to have another wife. To meet up with friends in similar situations and have their social groups. Next slide, please. So, like I said, fall in love all over again. But if we're not in love at the beginning, well, it's harder to start falling in love at the end. So start falling in love early. But if you haven't, never too late, fall in love again, all over again. Next slide. So we recommend collective effort, proactive approach. Resources are everywhere. So, like I keep saying, you need to talk to someone if there's a problem, family, friend, priest, or so on. And they have what we call high index of suspicion. And there are red flags when somebody's having mental health problems. Those red flags, look out for them, like dehydration. Next. Those are the red flags. Any change of behavior, becoming untidy for a tidy person, becoming suddenly quiet, watch out. Isolating themselves, they're going through a secretiveness, red eyes, hiding things. Or when you're talking to someone, they're looking away, averting your gaze, not eating well, becoming aggressive or hostile. These are red flags. Next slide. But who will see those things? Your family and your friends and neighbors and workmates, church or health providers. They can see those red flags and take the person quickly to seek treatment. Next slide, please. Those affirmations that Chairman mentioned at the beginning, here are many of them. I accept myself as I am. So you learn to say these positive things about yourself. I embrace my age. I appreciate myself. I accept myself as an older person. I accept that old age is just another interesting phase of my life. I am valuable to myself, to my family, to the world, and to God. I am irreplaceable. I am unique. I am good looking. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I appreciate and I thank God for granting me many years on earth. I value myself because nobody can value me more than I value myself. Thank you for going to the next slide. So final word, stay positive, keep learning, keep walking, keep walking. We're built to walk. Talk to someone if you have a problem. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to someone. There's one more final word. Next. You cannot do it alone. Remember, there's this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's my final slide. Next slide. So this is an SOS, slower, older, and smarter. This is dedicated, my presentation is dedicated to all senior citizens who now realize that it is time to slow down, take it easy, and enjoy the rest of the trip. Thank you. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. Enlightening. Thank you so much. I need that song, man. Dude, I need that song.
If you want no person, you no go first person. I know they see. You won't give me medicine. I get money, you won't help me spend my money. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. I love you.
Just small. Just when they grew up with you, my God. So we're gonna have the next that was sweet. I will never look at a sandwich the same. As in, seriously, now that you broke down that whole sandwich thing for me, why am I echoing? Hello? All right, we're good. Thank you so much for that. I took loads of notes. But since we're a bit behind time, let's just move swiftly on, right? I'll share the notes in the interactive session. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. Our next speaker will be speaking on the joy of being you, how to embrace your authentic self and find true happiness. May I welcome Adegoke Omotola. Geng. Thank you so much, sir. The joy of being you.
Thank you so much. I want to particularly appreciate the previous speaker, Dr. Akinshete. Please put your hands together for her. She has done a very great job, and she's made my work much more easier. I also want to specially recognize the convener of this very powerful program, Mrs. Ijoma Ayam Osigwe. Let's put our hands together for her. I think she just stood up. And also her husband, Chief Charles Ayam Osigwe as well. And the chairman of this program and all protocols observed. I hope my slides are there. Okay. My name is Adegoke Omotola. I'm the CEO of First Degree Consulting. I'm a management consultant and also a leadership coach as well as a customer service professional. Today is an emotional day of somehow for me because 14 years ago, this month, I was in this room just like we're all gathered here. I invited people from all across the spectrum to launch my book. That was 14 years ago. So I'm back here 14 years later to come and speak. You know, and I just want to thank God for that privilege because it's not everyone that have that privilege. And my book is also here, you know, Customer Retention and Experiential Approach. I'm not a salesman, but somehow I'm putting it out there. Because if you have something good, just like we learned, you know, the joy of being you, you should be self-aware. You should be happy about yourself. And it's also a privilege that since then, this is the 4th edition, you know, so I've continued to improve myself. There are a few copies in the reception area if you'd like to pick up a copy. Now, can we, is the slide, are they available or I can just use my phone because I already have it in mind, just as a backup. Just a short story about myself, you know. My dad was a university professor and he had a PhD in law. And when I was growing up, I wasn't really a brilliant student, you know, that you could call a brilliant student. In my primary 6, I came last. In my school set, first school set, I had only 2 credits, mathematics and, no, sorry, I'm even saying mathematics, economics and government. By the time I finished JAMB in 1985, I had 185. In 1986, I had 186. In 1987, my dad said, look, there's no point in it. You must just follow the trend. But somehow, I was fortunate enough to get 224. Then I continued at that trajectory of failure. Got into school. My first year, I didn't even attend classes. Second year, I didn't attend until second semester, year 3. So, with that kind of story, obviously you must, then with that trend, you will see that kind of person might not really achieve much in life. And that's why I want to say to someone here, you might have been failing before now, but that's not, you know, that path doesn't have to continue, all right? You can always recalibrate. Things can always change. I finished with the 3rd class. And so I'm sure you'll be wondering, how come I was able to write a book? You know. And that's the interesting part. You don't always have to follow that path. There's always, you know, an aha moment. I just want to share, you know, from that perspective so that you don't just think, oh, I'm all suited up. Maybe I started off like that. No, I've had my own failure stories, but things have turned around. So I don't know what has happened in the media, but let me just go into my phone and bring out. No, don't. Oh, the laptop, so I can go through. Okay. Oh, it's up now. Okay. I want to follow the leadership of my previous speaker. Yeah, that's why. Okay. First slide, the joy of being you, how to embrace your authentic self. It starts with self-awareness. You know, for me, the biggest challenge then was that I really never had anyone to validate me and tell me, oh, you're good. So I just thought there was something wrong with me. And there was nothing really wrong with me. But I wasn't self-aware. Next slide, please. Everyone here is special. Every woman here is special. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. We're not appreciating ourselves. Just like the chairman said, you know, we need to appreciate ourselves. Look at the mirror and say positive things, you know, to yourself. Now, when you look at the profile now, you think that maybe I'm a professor emeritus. How did this happen? But it came from self-awareness. I just said to myself, no, I can't continue on this path. You know, things must change. Next slide, please. Now, we live in a world that we're constantly bombarded with messages, how we should look, how we should think, how we should act. So even when you have your uniqueness, you can begin to operate in somebody else's, mold. And that can be a major challenge. So we're told we need to conform to certain standards in order to be accepted by people. Maybe you don't speak, in a particular manner. For example, I schooled in the UK, and I had my master's there. And I realized that, it got to a stage that, I wanted to become British, in speaking and so on and so forth. And I couldn't really become British because the accent was still very strong. So one day I said to myself, enough of this. In fact, they got to a stage that I changed my name to Alfred, which was the first initial, Adegoke. And one day my dad called and said he wants to speak to Adegoke. He said, no, there's no Adegoke working here. He called and called, maybe like 3 times. Later, he now described me. I said, oh, that's Alfred. When he called me, he said, have you changed your name? I said, I've changed my name because I'm in the UK. But somehow, I now realized that I was, making a big mistake. We're unique. We're all unique, all right? So, next slide. So we need to embrace our authentic self. Who are you? Who are you? Not who do they say you are. All right? So we must be able to connect with ourselves first. Connecting with ourselves is very, very important. All right? We feel more confident and empowered when we connect with ourselves. Thankfully for me, I was able to connect with myself even after all those errors. And so when some of my colleagues see me today and say, they begin to refer to those failure things. I said, look, those ones are in the past. Even the scripture says, all things are past and all things have become new. Let's clap for ourselves, all right? Next slide. So, what are your personal values? I didn't really have values when I was growing up, because I just thought life was just for you to just wake up and become successful, all right? And so you must have values. What are your core values? What do you hold true? What are those things that, irrespective of what's going on around you, you can say, this is who you are. This is who I am. And how do you want to be remembered? Now, I'm already writing my story now. That's going to be my legacy in terms of my book, my body of work, maybe courses online. I have a podcast called Leadership Talk with Adegoke. People listen to it all over the world. So that's already my body of work, my legacy. So, it doesn't even matter whether you are 50, you are 60. You can begin to write, your own story. All right? Because if you're waiting for people to validate you, it might take a long while. So you need to begin to speak to yourself and begin to share your story. All right? And some people, they only share their success stories. People want to know, where have you made mistakes? Yeah, they want you to be authentic. All right? They want you to be authentic. And it's not going to take anything away from you. Okay? Now, your personal values, are they situational? Can you be moved by, slight inducements and just all this, maybe by position? Or are you someone that, irrespective of, just like the previous speaker said, my dad used to be in the public sector, and I remember when he left office, I was the one that moved all his personal effects out of the official quarters. And he was there for probably about 6 years, almost 6 years. And when he was going to move into the official quarters, I was in the UK then, and I joined him after my master's. I was the only one staying there with him. And one day I asked him, I said, why are you not here with the family? He said, no, anything can happen. That he can lose this job just like that. So if he brings his family to the official quarters, what's going to happen if they just serve him a quit notice? And that was what happened. It was just on NTA that he got the that he had been sacked. And he was still in Abuja. So what did I do? I had to move the item. So it was very smooth. And I didn't even have a lot of, personal effects. So because I used to go home every other weekend. So what am I saying? Based on your core values, it should be embedded in you, irrespective of whether you have a position or a title or not. All right? Then the next slide. Will these values stand the test of time? There's some people that come rain, come shine. They're able to pass on these values even to their children's children. But there's some people that those values is just for a season. And so when we are saying to ourselves, the joy of being you, irrespective of come rain, come shine, whether the weather is hostile, whether the weather is, fine, just be yourself. All right? Because people are looking for role models all over the place. We're looking for people that we can look up to. And I'm sure there are quite a number of people here, that, I don't want to begin to mention names now. But I think we are proud of even the convener of this program for putting together something as awesome as this. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. Next slide, please. Next slide. Now, what must we do? What must we do? Number one, know yourself. Take time to explore your interests. We can become so busy that you don't even have time to discover yourself. You're just living for others. Even as mothers, we multitask, make sure the children have eaten, make sure, the school fees, the husband remembers the school fees, make sure that, everybody but yourself. So, self-love is very important. It's not being selfish, but make out time. Then have a clear understanding of your purpose. It's very important. I remember when I was in the banking industry, my ambition was for me to work in the bank. And I got there and I realized that it was just a mirage. It wasn't really the truth. That there was more to working in the bank than just saying, oh, I'm looking for customers and so on and so forth. And I sat back and I said, look, this is not my purpose. And I began to ask myself questions. And I think for us here, we need to ask, do self-appraisal. Ask yourself questions from time to time. That's when you can really identify the real you. Because you can be living for other people. And I just find that, just like the previous speaker said, but in old age, just like a friend, after 40 years, I said, oh, probably she needs to go and get a job. So those things are very, very important. Number two. Number two, please. Next slide, please. Then be authentic. Don't be afraid to express your true thoughts and speak up for what you believe in. Speak up. I also want to recognize my colleague, Mrs. Bumi Ojomu. Thank you for coming. She's also a fellow Maxwell leadership coach. We are quite a number in Nigeria, but she decided to also follow me here too. We always encourage ourselves from time to time. Thank you so much. She used to be the treasurer of Unilever and also Guinness. So she's now transited into coaching. So we're sharing the same platform. So when you are honest with yourself, you build trust and respect. People are looking for who to trust. When you're authentic, you don't need to be A today and B tomorrow. Just be consistent. Number three, we're talking about the joy of being you, how you can really have happiness. Number three, develop a growth mindset. What has happened, for me, just like the previous speaker said, is that I've continued to stretch myself, learn new things. That failure path didn't have to remain like that. Having a third class probably about 25 years ago, I didn't have to remain in that same mode. I could improve myself. So I went to take courses. I put myself in different rooms, leadership programs, invested in myself, and things began to change. For somebody here, you might need to, follow a new path. Even if you are retired, you can learn new things. You can engage, you can go back to school, and don't be shy to get somebody to teach you something. You can, it can even be something handy. Am I communicating? Because, you find out that quite a number of us, women, will retire and just sit and wait for life to begin to pass us by. Don't become, just don't become idle. You might have all the money, but that doesn't make you, so you have to get your hands, into something so that your mind is also working. All right? And it slows down the aging process. Am I communicating? For example, if you retire at the age of 45, 50, and you just now have to be doing omugo and just be moving up and down, all those things will not really stretch your mind. All right? So it's very important. I'm not saying do something very, tedious, but at least something basic. All right? So that at least they'll know that grandma is also busy. All right? So next slide. Then set boundaries. Protect your time. You don't have to attend all the functions. Sometimes we feel, a bit bad and say, oh, this is my schoolmate, this is my church person, I have to be here and there. Those things can take a toll on your health. All right? So you need to really manage your time. Protect your boundaries. Okay? You can slow down a bit. There's nothing wrong in doing that. Very important. Next slide. Then surround yourself with positive people. The truth is, even in these elections, there's so much negative vibes and if you make yourself available, people can just be dumping negative news on you. Before you know, you're already overwhelmed. So you wake up in the morning and somebody sends you a text, you read it, somebody calls you and say, have you heard? And before you know it, it drains you. All right? So by the time it's already 5 p.m. in the evening, you're already tired. Okay? So make sure you don't put yourself around negative people that will just drain you. Okay? Very important. I'm conscious of time. That's why I'm trying to. Next slide. Then accept imperfection. We are not all perfect. All these fingers, they're not equal. All right? Because just like the previous speaker said, sorry, I'm alluding to but it's also good to value something authentic. You see, we are not all the same. Some people have this, but they don't have that. So you can't be bothering about what other people have. Sometimes we look at the cup as half empty instead of half full. For example, in the last maybe 10 years, I've had to validate myself. I might not have millions of dollars in the bank, but I know that I'm on the right path. Say to your neighbor, you're on the right path. All right? So move around positive people. That's why I said I didn't just come here alone. I even invited my colleague. I said, please, I'm coming to speak. Even if everybody here didn't clap for me, I'm sure she would clap even more than others. So that's very intentional. Okay? Next slide. Then how do you recalibrate? I'm getting to the end of How do you recalibrate? You can push the reset button. You can push the reset button. Yeah, and you can even start now. It's not too late. And when you are ready, you think the universe begins to respond to you. I had to push the reset button. And now I have a different story. I had to push the reset button. But like I said, self-awareness is very important. Not what people are saying, but you have to do like, a recalibration. Because you can be moving and your tank is low. The petrol is low. And what happens if your fuel finishes in the middle of the road? You're stuck there. So you don't want to be stuck. Make sure you do, even this program that we're having is, part of, the privilege that you have to do like a reset. Number 2. Next slide. Then what must I stop? What are those things I need to stop? That area where you need to stop certain things. Next slide. Then more. What must I do more? Because you see, the truth of the matter is that even when you say you want to be your authentic self, some people just talk and talk and talk about what they want to do, but they don't actually get anything done. So it's more of results, more of becoming effective. Because, like I just mentioned, 14 years, I just gone as if it's 6 weeks, and I'm back here again. And another 14 years again, if I don't begin to do things, I find, life doesn't wait for anyone. So you need to begin to do things. And you begin to, in fact, you are more fulfilled and say, wow, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And you begin to clap for yourself. You begin to appreciate yourself. Finally, next slide. Less. Do more with less. You don't need much. You don't need much. If you want to write a book, you can even start with, an online, version. Maybe probably with about 30,000 naira. You don't need to spend 500,000 naira. And once it's online, maybe Amazon, people buy it, they can buy $1, they can buy $2. It compounds, all right? I'm just talking from the perspective of a book. Next slide. So in conclusion, embracing your authentic self is the key to finding true happiness. It's not what people say. It's about how you feel, how you validate yourself. Stop condemning yourself. Stop telling yourself, oh, I wish I could have done this better. No, those are part of your stories. Probably if everything was smooth for me, probably I would not have had this opportunity now. But because I failed very early in life, I became so restless. And I said, no, this must not continue. So even when I started working in the bank, after about a few years, I said to myself, no, I need to take another path. I was ready to take on new challenges. All right? So if we don't go out there and begin to do things, things will not happen. We are wonderful people. We're God's people. The future is very bright for us. And I know for somebody here, there is still more ahead of you. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. All right? So surround yourself with positive people. I love Chief Charles so much. I don't want to share one or two secrets, but he's a very good dancer. And Madame also, she's a very good dancer. In fact, some of you want to hear more, but I won't tell you today. Maybe the following year I'll tell you. But I appreciate them so much. Let's appreciate Chief Charles and Mrs. Ijeoma as well. We appreciate you so much, sir. They're very positive people. When you're around them, there's no dull moment. So as I close, I just want to, the next slide. That's the last, anything else, that's just to say. Then next slide. Next slide. I think I've done well with time. I appreciate, please appreciate me. Appreciate me. Appreciate me. So for those of you that might want to, because the truth of the matter is that, I don't want to, please, the last slide. I don't want to leave this room. I want to make friends, I want to make friends, and you never know. I was here 14 years ago. I'm here now. Maybe the next time I'm here, 10 years later, you're also going to be here with me, all right? So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is Adegoke Omotola, numeric 1. Adegoke Omotola, numeric 1. Then I'm also on LinkedIn as Adegoke Omotola. Then I'm also, Alfred. No, Alfred was left in the UK 25 years ago. That's secret. It's now exposed, but I'm sure you can keep my secret. So I also have a podcast called Leadership Talk with Adegoke. It's a podcast that speaks to every area of leadership, whether it's innovation, whether it's women, whether it's agility, resilience. And I've had a great time, and I continue to be myself. Please give me a wonderful round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Continue to take notes fascinating for me because I'm also a leadership coach, and it was just fantastic. I'm really inspired by what you presented. I wanted to play a song. How's the song going? The song encapsulates It's called I'm Already Enough. It's by Fearless Soul. So if it can play now,
I was searching, I was looking.
Please listen to the lyrics.
For meaning, I was wondering, desperately trying only to see I have nothing missing. Who said I have to find who I am? Who said that I am lost to begin with? I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Each morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for the beauty around me. Life is a gift, I wanna enjoy it. Always proving my worth only destroys it. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. My motivation can't be validation. I'd always be starving for more affection, the wrong attention, only to feel like I am nothing. Who said I have to find who I am? Who said that I am lost to begin with? I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Each morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for the beauty around me. Life is a gift, I wanna enjoy it. Always proving my worth only destroys it. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Oh yeah. I have nothing to find and everything to feel. Only I can define what is meaningful to me. Even when I am feeling so breakable, I tell myself to believe I am valuable. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. Each morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for the beauty around me. Life is a gift, I wanna enjoy it. Always proving my worth only destroys it. I am already enough. Everything I need is within me. I am already enough.
I think it kind of summarizes everything, right? How to love yourself. It's also kind of an entrance song to our next speaker, who is also going to speak further on this. Her name is Madame Onyeko Wenu, and she will be speaking on self-love, what's not to love. Self-love, what's not to love. Actually, I think I might play that. Yes. After her talk. Here you go, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. You are blessed. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. You are special. You are extraordinary. Put your hands together for yourselves. The thing about being a third speaker is that those who have come before you may have delivered you. have delivered your speech. So I'm going to try not to repeat, but to bring a different and personal angle to things. I wanted to start off with what the good book says. Love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the fact that if you didn't love yourself, you wouldn't have any idea how to love anyone else. So we are not talking about here today what we don't already know, what the Bible hasn't told us and what we have not been taught, except that we always forget. Because society has molded us in a way that as women, we ought to be self-sacrificing. We ought to beat ourselves down so that the man can feel strong and able. If you have any gifts, keep them hidden. Use them, yes, to glorify the man under whose watch and under whose, I don't want to say under whose knee your neck is. But there we go. So, love yourself first. You know, when you're flying and they're giving instructions as to what you do when there's a problem, especially if there's no oxygen and the oxygen mask comes down. I've always wondered, why do they say put your own on first before attending to maybe your children? Because the tendency we have as mothers is you're dying, but you want to put your child's oxygen mask first. But it makes sense, because if you're not alive, you're not able to help that child, are you? So these things I began to ponder and think, yeah, it's okay to love myself. Now, personally, I have to go back a little bit to as a child. First of all, let me thank the organizers of this event. My dear, dear, sweet younger sister, Ijoma Anyamosigwe. My big brother, Mazi Nekwit Belemo, I have a lot of respect for you. Thank you so much for giving this woman the courage, the permission, the support to be excellent. I give you the credit, because it's not easy for men to accept women who have something to offer. And you have done that. As you've done it to her, you've done it for all of us. We thank you very much. You must have thought that I had something to give with regards to this subject, that I had something to say. But then, what many people don't know, as you see me, you think, oh, look at her. She has achieved so much, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. She must be self-assured. She must, mba. It don't work that way. Everybody has something that they are carrying that you may not know, that they have to deal with. We may come out in public, and on the surface of it, you think we are all that and a bag of chips. Underneath, there are burdens that we are carrying. The only thing I came to realize is that, my dear sister Ngozi, I cannot carry what you're carrying. You can't carry what I'm carrying. Because God has given you the anointing to carry that burden that he has given you. And I have my own anointing. So do all of us. As a child, I was fortunate to have a father who loved me like you would not believe. The sun rose and went down as far as Ononyeka. I was called Wunyenea, her father's wife. And I had issues with my mom. Oh, we were made. Oh, trust me. You know how it is. Anything I did, it's like, this child, I've been telling you about Onyeka. I said, yeah, my mate. Nothing I ever do will be okay with you. At a point, we came to terms with it, and we used to laugh about it. But guess what? It was the fact that we loved the same man that enabled us to work as partners to help the family and sustain the family and make sure that the name could go on and on. So it worked. My father gave me so much love above everybody else. But he died when I was barely 5. I was 4 years and 10 months. But let me tell you something. It was that love that sustained me. Because knowing that somebody loved me that much was great encouragement for me to realize that I could do anything I put my mind to. So each time anything happened to me, I would think back, yeah, my dad. Yeah, my dad. And it was okay. I could go on and be strong. But life was not perfect. I was the last child in the family. Life was not perfect, but we made it because we had a strong mother whom my father had allowed to be herself in the days when women were not allowed to. My mom could speak her mind. She could do whatever she wanted. She was trading. She was a beautiful woman. She dressed well. She had the kind of wisdom. My father was a brilliant man in terms of education and what have you. But my mom had the wisdom and brilliance that street sense is what we call it, that my father didn't have. Thank God for that, because that saw us through. But the fact that you are favored somehow also exposes you to jealousy. And I had to deal with that a great deal, within and outside the family. Initially, it was very difficult because I didn't understand it. Why? Now I do. And it's okay, I take it as a compliment. If someone is showing jealousy towards me, I say, oh, there must be something there that they see that even I can't see. So thank you very much. But it also taught me, and I learned from the fact that I was always apologizing for myself. When you get a bunch of women in a room and we want to make each other feel better, if you say, oh, your dress is beautiful. Oh, it's an old one even, and it's even torn in the back. Oh, your legs are beautiful, but I have skinny legs. Can't you see I have skinny ankles? But your nyash is that you have, no. One day, something said to me, stop. I am the one that made you and gave you all these gifts. When you deny these qualities that people see in you, it's like a slap in my face. Ooh, it's true. The theme of my talk is, what's not to love? You are created by God Almighty, whose other name is love. What's not to love about yourself? Think about conception. The fact that there are how many millions and millions, if not billions, of sperms that go in, and you are the one that came out. What are the chances that you are the one that was chosen? And I also very early learned that God sends you here not just so you can suffer and complain. He sends you and he gives, and some of us do suffer and complain. But he has sent you with a purpose. And it is that sense of purpose that drives you. That no matter what happens, no matter what you go through, in fact, bring on the trouble, because I see it as an opportunity to learn. I see my mistakes as an opportunity to learn. Falling down is an opportunity to learn. Okay, this one did not work. Let me try the next one and the next one until I get one that works. So every opportunity is good. And the Bible again tells me that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Your mistakes are no mistakes, just lessons. And you get out of them, you are stronger and you are better and you push on. I went to school thinking I was brilliant, you know. My father was an educationist. You got to do well in school. And I had natural intelligence. And I was careless. I wasn't studying. I was getting away with it. I wasn't studying. Secondary school, Amumara girls. First year, I passed. Second year, I failed. Wow. Wow. You know the kind of family we come from. That is the worst thing that you could do. You come back, you failed. You what? And you know, school closes in December. I told you have Christmas and come and enjoy Christmas. If I'm taking one piece of chicken, they say, Ifria, look at her, you're eating. Your mates are, hey, it was hell for me in my family. You are the only one who has failed in this family. Look at you, how dare you? That Christmas dress they bought you, when you wear it, my mom, Ifra, it taught me something. I decided never again. What saved me was that year in secondary school was when the war started and we all went home. When I came back, I jumped a class. Yeah, I did. And I caught up with my mates. I was so ashamed. And when we went back to school and I was repeating class with people who came after me, oh my God, I never want to quit. I needed to fail to come to that realization. So here we are, growing up, my mother struggling, raising 5 kids, and numerous nieces and nephews of her husband, not even her own, her husband. She never sent them away, incredible woman. And we go to college, and we come back, and I land back in Nigeria, and I am on NTA. I'm reading the news, I'm reporting, I'm beginning my singing career. And people now tell me how hot I was in those days. I had no idea. You know, if I did, maybe I would have taken it. I promise you, I had no idea I was all that. But then I found myself in a society that places value in women because of what you look like. And I didn't like modeling. It made me some money at school, but I didn't enjoy it because I was saying, look at my brain. It is my brain that you ought to, what is in my brain that you ought to see. And when I didn't need it to make extra money, I stopped. And I started emphasizing on what I was bringing to the table. Even as a singer, my emphasis is, what am I singing about? Am I singing about issues that touch people? Am I singing about things that would improve society? But along the way, each time I am still dealing with the jealousy, with the self-doubt that it created. It got worse. I got married. Didn't want to get married anymore. Didn't actually want to have children. Didn't want to get married. But the pressure was much. And I met someone that I fell in love with. Great man, lovely. Very, very generous and encouraging and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Until he wasn't. Guess what my problem was? Guess what my crime was? When we walk into a room, my aura took over. That can kill you. Because there's nothing you can do about your aura. There's nothing you can do about the talent that God has given you. What it means is that he wants you down there. Step on you, do whatever he can to keep you down so you don't shine. But it was that aura that attracted him in the first place. This is the dilemma that women face. Please clap for women in this place. But you will not go. You stick around. You have children. You don't want to have a failed marriage. You want their children to know their father. So you take it. And I took it for many years. One day, my brother said to me, you are losing yourself. Indeed, I was losing myself. It wasn't the Onyeka that I knew. One day, something else happened. And God gave me courage to walk out, to end it all. Put your hands together for me. I want to say to every woman here, you don't have to die. We have lost so many wonderful women, talented women, because society told them that they had to take all that rubbish for them to be acknowledged as virtuous women. You don't have to die. I say to people, when my time comes, as it is appointed for all mortals, and I meet my God, and he's going through the list of the things, the talents, the chances, the opportunities he has given me, and he says, my daughter, why did you not do this? I'm going to tell him that a man stopped me. I can't do that. So I made up my mind that no matter what happens, I am going to be all that I have been sent here to do. To be. Now, I know there are sacrifices that come with that. Trust me. There are sacrifices that come with being a woman on her own, raising your family. Because I raised my children from kindergarten to graduate school. Put your hands together for me. You make those sacrifices because you're looking at the prize. You stay focused on the prize. And that prize is self-actualization. That's where I am. And I stand proudly and firmly on that. And I don't take no nonsense from anybody. Because when we see women who are standing alone, we think we can dump anything on them. There's no man that you're seeing running around me and all that. So any little kiniko thinks they can make a pass at you and toast you. Come on, get out of here. You know reach. How do I define self-love? Self-respect. When you respect yourself, you give people permission to respect you. When you are on the table and respect is no longer being served, get up and walk. Speak your mind. Express yourself. And that's why I tell women, you see, going to school is important. Learning a trade is important. Having your own financial base is important. So that if anyone says boo, you say boo, boo. Double. Because they're not feeding you, they're not paying your rent. And God loves women like me because he has made us in his image. I'll bring this thing to a close so that so many other wonderful speakers have so much to tell you. And what I can say to you is, mind the self-talk. The things you say to yourself. Oh dear, look at my face. When I wake up, I know how my face is, but I look in the mirror and say, you know what? You are beautiful. Girl, you're hot. You are something else. All right? Let's go. Let's go get it. That's what I say repeatedly to myself. And I have a trick. When thoughts come into your mind that tend to bring you down, that tend to tell you what you are not, instead of fighting those thoughts, which means resistance. When you resist something, it has a way of just it keeps coming back. Welcome it and say, hey, the thought of I'm not capable, you're welcome today. Sit down, let's have a good time. How about dinner? How your family? Sure, everything is all right. Oh yeah, sit down. That thought goes away. It will not come back. That's my personal, and I want to give you that today. Please try it because I know that it works. When you do your prayers, talk to your Father in heaven. Your Father has a special ear that's attuned to the woman's cry. When you finish crying, get up and begin to affirm those things that you want to happen in your life. The subconscious is so powerful. What you confess is what you possess. If you confess negatively, and self-love is not about money, it's not about having so much money. No. It's knowing who you are. Confess that person that you know that God has created you to be. Even if things look bad, and watch them just change. Because your mind, your subconscious mind is listening to all that. In fact, that's the impression that it will get. You may be poor, but confess being rich. You may be jobless, but confess that wonderful job that you're hoping to get. You may be without a lover. Confess that great love. It's going to come. Could even be somebody from the past. Read chapter 10 of My Father's Daughter. I fell in love at 13. Just like Queen Elizabeth. Madly in love. We're twin flames. And in God's own time, he'll bring that person back into your life. It may not be love as we know it, going to bed. Going to bed is not everything. It may be just a beautiful friendship that you actually really, need. And friendship is a good thing. What's not to love? What's not to love? I look good, yeah? And I look good in this skirt and blouse. What are you talking? We have listen, your wife is gorgeous. Hey, C-shape. C-shape. We have a kind of backside in our family. We inherited from my grandmother. All right? And my mother inherited it. And we used to admire my mother's backside. But I also had it. And then my sister would always downplay it and say, bongem. That's what they call it, bongem. Rock nyash. Then I had a nephew, a niece, who had the same thing. And I saw they were beating her down with this thing. I said, come. This our bottom is the best. I said, look at my mom. In her 90s. I said, that's how we are going to be. So let's make something out of it. So we formed an imaginary Bongem club. And when we see each other, I say, this is the president, I'm the secretary. And hey, guess what? That my sister who's always saying, if Rocky Kiedi. Now I want to belong. I say, you can't. You don't. You just don't have it. Till today, I said, okay, bring $1 million. Maybe we'll. You can turn that thing that people are using against you. You can turn it into an asset. But I look at the beautiful women in this place, and I just thank God that I'm in your midst. I thank God. You are so beautifully made. You are so, and Nigerian women are something else. You can't keep us down. Which area are you going to keep us down in? We will continue to shine. At 71, I'm planning to be a movie producer. Yeah! Come back when I'm 80, you'll still see me. I love myself well enough to know what to do, because you have to exercise, you have to eat well, you have to take good care of yourself. What's not to love? Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hit it, DJ.
Everybody passes the day and the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. Living more love between extra brighter day. Never need worry that one love says you free.
Come on, sing it, everybody.
One love keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. One love keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive.
You guys wanted the whole thing, eh? No, 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 no. No free show here. No, 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 no. You pay for the ticket when she. Nah, nah, nah. The concert at 71 when she's doing the production thing. We'll do it together. So, okay. I wanted us to move swiftly along. So we'll have to do that now. Can I use that, please? I'm not sure where mine's gone. Okay, here it is. So we shall now go to the fourth speaker, who will be talking about the incredible journey with self, with curiosity. Uri Ngozi Chukwuka.
Yes, I do. How many people know the exact number? Okay, let me say this. It takes about 260 something muscles to wear a frown. And then it takes just about 2 muscles to wear a smile. So we should be smiling. Could you look at your neighbor and just give your neighbor a good smile? When I saw this, when I saw the program for today and I realized I was the last speaker, and I'm like, oh goodness. My topic is the incredible journey with self, with curiosity. And I can see that it has been an incredible journey today. It's been an incredible journey from the great chairman, Dr. Annette, yes, Akinshete. And then we have, sorry, Omotola there. And of course, Max Alfred, yes. And then we traveled, you know, we've been on a journey, and then we traveled to our global icon, Onyeka Onwenu. And it's a journey. And really, it's a journey with self. It's a journey with curiosity. I really wanted to talk about a lot of things, but I see that a lot of grounds have been covered. And I'm just wondering, where do I go to and how do I start? But the journey it is what it is. When you're going on a journey, you pack. If you're going for a week, you pack for a week. If you're going for a year, you pack for a year. If you're going for a day, or those days that we do Kwanangida. Has anybody done Kwanangida here? Okay. Now, when you pack for a journey, but this one is the journey with self, with curiosity. What is curiosity? Why do you have to go on a journey with curiosity? Curiosity is simply defined as the eagerness to know, the eagerness to find out and to discover. And so on this particular journey with yourself, you should be eager to know yourself. You should be very eager to know who you are. And just in case you're wondering, why should I know who I am? I don't want to sound like a broken record. We've already heard the scripture, love your neighbor as yourself. But let me say this. This particular commandment is a two-way commandment. It's an A and a B. So I want you to understand or to tell me, which is the A part of this commandment? Is it the love your neighbor that is the A, or as yourself that is the B? As yourself is what? You see? So as yourself, you know, is the A, and the B is actually love your neighbor. I'm sure you've learned something today, and you're learning a lot of things. Okay, so going on this journey, I also realized that there's this particular book I read when I was very young, it's out there. The book was published in 1938, but I wasn't born in 1938, but I met it. It was published by Daniel Fagunwa. It's a Yoruba book, written in Yoruba. I grew up in Lagos, so I went to school here. And the title of that book is, I'll say it in Yoruba, and I'll translate. Ogboju Ode. Hey, yes, so my Yoruba people are here. Ogboju Ode ninu igorumole. Exactly. What does it mean? It says the brave hunter. The brave hunter in the forest of the gods. And so when I grew up, I actually watched the stage drama of that book. It was amazing. And so this hunter went into this forest and he discovered a lot of things. There were talking trees, you know. There were spirits with 7 heads. There were stones that were jumping. There were all kinds of things that he saw. The journey was supposed to take him to this particular forest to get something that was very, very important. And so, I liken the journey with yourself, with curiosity, to Ogboju Ode. You must be brave if you're going on this journey. One of the things you should pack on this your journey with yourself is courage. The reason why you should have courage, what is courage? Courage is that mental strength to withstand what is strong, to withstand what frightens you. It frightens you, but you go ahead and do it. So you have to be courageous. You have to be courageous to take a journey with yourself. One other thing you should pack in this journey, you have to also pack gratitude in this journey. Now, this journey, you can have it every month, once a year, once in 2 years. You decide when you go on this journey. It is a psychological journey, a metaphorical journey, sort of. And so when you're going on this journey, you also decide whether you go forward or you go backwards. When you go forward is when you dream, when you have goals, when you have expectation, you're on that journey. And of course, when you decide to go backwards is when you go introspective and you begin to think and to reevaluate where you have been or what you haven't done. The reason why you need to go on this journey is because the scripture just says one very simple thing. Man, know thyself. You have to know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, if you don't invest time to discover who you are, if you don't invest time to discover your journeys, and when you're going on this journey, you're going to have landmarks. If you don't take your time to look at these landmarks, to understand it, you will not be able to, just as you can't love another person when you haven't loved yourself, you will not be able to love. You will not be able to understand your environment. You will not be able to understand the next person. So that is how it works. One of the things, again, you should go with is introspection. What is introspection? Introspection is a journey within. The title today is The Journey with Self, with Curiosity. So introspection is that journey within, the silent journey that you go. Take your time, get a quiet place, or get to a quiet time where you introspect. And when you do that journey, this particular introspection, you do introspection with the hope of coming up with something positive. And when you introspect, it also shows you respect everybody around you to be able to take a walk back and to look closely at what you have done wrong, what you haven't done wrong, what you have done right, where exactly to adjust. Introspection should be part of the kit in your kitty, in your journey kitty. I was speaking with a friend on my topic, and she said, the journey with self, doesn't it involve, walking along with God? I said, don't get religious on me here. Your journey of life, you walk with God. But you see the journey with yourself. It's you taking responsibility. It is you taking responsibility. You have to be intentional. And like I said, the hunter, the brave hunter that goes into the forest, you will certainly see a lot of things. And there were so many things that scared him. When you're taking this journey with yourself, there's a lot of doubt. You doubt yourself. I want to see how many people have that. Have you ever doubted yourself? Yes. You doubt yourself. But you know what? Doubting yourself is very, very welcome. But what is not welcome is if you let the doubt to cripple you. If you let the doubt to stop you. And that's why courage should be the first thing that you have in your backpack when you're going on this journey. Yes, you're doubting, but then you are not in any way deterred. So doubt all you want in life, but don't be deterred by your doubts. Am I communicating? Are we going on this journey together? Another thing you should pack in this journey is gratitude. Celebrating small wins. a lot of all the speakers here have come and, they have told us how we should wake up in the morning and tell yourself how beautiful you are. The truth of the matter is, every day you wake up is an invitation that has been extended to you by the universe. A lot of people didn't get those invitations, and that's why they didn't see today. But you got an invitation. Clap for yourself. You got an invitation to be here. And so just getting that invitation to be here, you should be grateful. And gratitude is not when you get $1 million. Gratitude is not, when you have attained some huge landmark. Gratitude is in those little things. Those little things, let me tell you how little they are. Someone talked about, Dr. Anna Kishete talked about, when you get to the point where you enter a room, you've forgotten, what you came to do in the room. And then, you now go back, But when you come back to the room and you remember, you retrace your steps and you remember, oh my God, thank you, God, I remembered. As little as that. I wanted to use that. As little as that. Gratitude is in the little things. We must pack gratitude in this journey. Another thing, again, you must have in this journey. Applause. Applause within. You see, we all want to be validated, no matter what. In as much as we believe, we've done all the self-belief and, self-affirmations and everything, but we all want to be validated. But you see, what you don't have inside, you cannot inspire outside. If you don't have it, if you do not have that self-validation, and that is why one of the things you should also pack on your journey is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is accepting yourself however you come and forgiving yourself for all the little mistakes and all the little mishaps. Self-acceptance is very key. And when you have self-acceptance, you automatically increase your self-worth. We've heard the speakers come here and talk about self-worth. You have a boundary. There are certain things you should be able to take. There are certain things you should not be able to take. There are certain times you should put your foot down, and there are certain times you should actually walk. Self-acceptance, when you do that, it gives you a great sense of self-worth. On this journey, this incredible journey, self-validation. Self-validation is very key. But if you do not validate yourself, nobody is going to validate you. There's something that I call the mathematical component in life. But let me say this. The universe is configured. You've never heard it before, but I can tell you this today. The universe is configured. You may have been experiencing it. The world is configured. The universe is configured to give you a lot of chances. Some people say second chances. No. The universe is actually configured to give you a lot of chances. Even the scripture says a righteous man falls 7 times and gets up again. And so when you're on this journey and you sleep, rise up and get up and keep going. And you fall again, you miss it. Don't beat yourself up. Rise up and keep going on this journey. And when you take the journey back and you're like, oh my goodness, this is what I have done, this is what I have done. Yes, regrets, they do come, but you know what? Do not let the regrets to be retrogressive. Do not let them to take you back. Regrets are only there for you to know what to do in future, in the next steps ahead of you. So like I said, you have many chances, and that is how the universe is configured. That is how the world is. So wherever or whichever state you're in, either in the pursuance of maybe a goal, maybe education, maybe your business, whatever it is, just keep going, because you are entitled to as many chances as possible. Now, so let me go over to the mathematics I was talking about. I never knew that, we could apply mathematics to our sociological, to sociological composition in the society. And why do I say that? You have subtractions, pluses, minuses, elimination, how many people pass mathematics at the first seat in here? Okay, how many people pass mathematics at the third seat in here? Anyway, like somebody said, maths was easy when it was just plus and minuses. But immediately X started looking for whatever, They lost me there. I don't know. X keeps looking for Y. Whatever happened to 1 + 1 = 2? 1 × 1, 1, And X started looking for Y, and I was lost. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, in our lives, we have to apply a little bit of mathematics, or if not a whole lot of it. And that is when you begin to ask yourself, what is adding to me? And what is not adding? So what do I add? What do I remove? What do I multiply? What do I divide? And what do I eliminate? It's just, a very simple principle that we have to apply this in our lives. The mathematical tools are there, but I'm sure you have never thought of applying it this way. So if you can take a moment, each and every one of us right now, look at your life critically and just think for a moment, what can you add to your life right now? What can you minus from your life? What is a minus? A minus is what takes away from you. So as you go on this journey, you discover that there are so many things that add up and so many things that subtract and distract. And then there are so many other things that need a lot more energy from you so that you can multiply. So think about the things that you need energy to multiply. It is a journey. And this journey, like I said, is a journey you can take anytime. Whether you do it once a week, once a month, once in a year. But it's a metaphorical journey that you have to take with yourself and with curiosity. Curiosity is the eagerness to learn, the eagerness to know you. In fact, there is a particular definition of curiosity that says, curiosity is the eagerness to know what does not concern you. I don't agree with that. In this instance, for this discourse, curiosity is actually the eagerness to learn about you and to understand your journey. And when you're going on this journey, there is bound to be distractions. When you're going on a straight journey, we already have, the scripture is so complete when it says, look unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. Because chances are you may look to the right or you may look to the left. And that's why he says, just look, eyes forward. You know why? Because when you look to the right, you're going to see someone doing better than you. in your mind. You're also going to see the ones that you're doing better than. And then you get competitive. Some people actually feel that, well, the school of thought that believe that competition, when you say somebody is competitive, is like, it's a positive. It's a positive attribute. I beg to disagree with Wikipedia. Because competition is defined as the state of mind that puts you in a way where you always want to be superior, where you show a sense of supremacy, where you display a sense of supremacy over someone or over something, where you display supremacy. That doesn't mean there shouldn't be any parameters. But you see, if we constantly have to live our lives where we always want to be superior and we always want to show a certain level of supremacy, that's a lot of energy. I'm tired already. Just thinking about it. I just want to be superior. Come on. And I want to show a certain level of supremacy. It's tiring. What does it do for humanity? It just makes us to have an over-bloated, perforated egos. That, and when you have a perforated ego, having an ego is bad. Having a perforated ego is insatiable. And so that puts you in a position of absolute and all the time competitiveness. So, what do we do? How do we redefine this competitiveness? There are buzzwords. I love the buzzwords. So many buzzwords, and we are in the era of buzzwords. One of the buzzwords I love so much, or three of the buzzwords I love so much: unlearning, relearning, and lifelong learning. When you unlearn, unlearning is just redoing something you have already done before, but doing it in a better way that gives a better result. Then when you unlearn, unlearning is leaving off something that brings a negative habit. When you begin to relearn and unlearn. But then this journey, life is a long life learning. So we never stop learning. So on this journey, you keep relearning and unlearning. And so when it comes to competition, when it comes to your state of perfection, it is not you being better than the other person. It is you overcoming your difficulties, your frailties. It is you overpowering and surmounting your difficulties and your frailties. And for me, that is a win-win. That is a win-win. It is not you overcoming and overpowering the next person in any way. It is you overcoming your failures, overcoming all your mistakes, and overcoming and growing, relearning ways, unlearning your ways and relearning. And for me, it takes a better sitting, and that is more empathetic. And so we come to empathy. Empathy is just basically feeling. I always define empathy as sympathy in motion. When you see someone who is going through a process, a difficult process, you can have sympathy for that person, but you may not be able to do anything for that person. But you see, empathy sees someone in a difficult position and does what? Empathy makes a move to pull that person. And so right now, in the 21st century, today, empathy is the fuel of our current society, and empathy is the fuel of the future. And so on your journey, you pack empathy with you. Make sure that you're empathetic to the next person. The only time you are allowed to look on the other side, to the right or to the left of the journey, is when you hear a cry for help and you lend a helping hand. And we all know what that does when you lend a helping hand to the next person. I'd like to end. I actually have like 50 slides, but I have cut everything short because of time. But I'd like to remind us again that on this journey, the basic things for us to equip ourselves with, it's a metaphorical journey. And this journey we should be courageous because we'll see lots of things about us. We should be curious to find out. There are so many things that we'll see that will make us doubt, that will make us to lose hope, that will make us to feel that the whole world is against us. And so that's why we should have courage, gratitude, self-acceptance. There'll be doubts, but do not let the doubts to drown you. There'll be fear, but take your fear fearlessly. Fear is allowed on this journey. And I end by saying, this great philosopher, Carl Jung, he said something. He said, who looks out of the window is looking into the dreams and future. But he that looks inside is awake. So let us be awake. Let's look inside. Thank you. Yes, just before I go, I want to end with a spoken word. It's about love, it's about self-love, it's about affirming who we are. And here it goes. I am enough. I'm designed, fit for royalty, not to be used, abused, discarded, disrespected. I am the definition of enough, for that's who I am. We can't continue to live our lives with the cookie cutters of a society, whether we fit, we misfit, or we are unfit. Words are our slaves and not our masters. And when well spun, they bring clarity and they bring understanding. So really, whether I come in ebony, I come in ivory, I come, covered in different shades of melanin or none at all, I am enough. I may come with my legs straight as a hunter's arrow, or my breasts pointed like the hunter's arrow, or my stomach flat and firm, ready to incubate a child. However it is, I am enough. Other times, I metamorphose in folds and flaps and love handles. They call them love handles, and I've come to love them ever since they appeared. Ever since they appeared to adorn my waist like beads. I am enough. You see, my legs, they love each other so much, they can't stay apart. When I walk, they call them knock knees. At other times, they can't stand the sight of each other, and they call it a majestic bow. I am enough. My hair, once jet black, now see strands of shimmering gray. I am enough. I am not in any way going to be sucked into the conferences or that convergence of not enough. For I know the call to action of such convergence. A visit to the doctor, a nip here, a nip there, for the perfect lips and the perfect hips. Who makes the rules on what makes me enough? I make my rules. And so I say, I am enough. You are enough. DJ.
I want to hear that again, please. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, yeah. am enough. I 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 come in heavenly. I come in ivory. I come in melanin. Oh, not at all. I come not speaking. I come not hearing. I come not seeing. Not walking. However I come. Not walking. However I come, I am enough. However I come, I am enough. 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 Don't let what you see define me. Look through the eyes of humanity. I'm dripping with joy from my head to my toes. Can't you see? My spirit is strengthened by the Almighty. Oh, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Yeah. I come in sizes, fleshy and dandy. I'm kind and gracious, cool and confident. I'm alluring, I'm a feeling, I'm captivating, fascinating. However I come, I am enough. However I come, I am enough. Beaten and broken, battered and so bruised, yet I'm standing. They don't define me. I'm cute and calm.
So just in case you didn't get that, you are what? Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we are going to have like a 30-minute session where we can interact with the speakers. So you would have all had like all these things in your minds. Like I have like, yeah, it's all over the place, right? But I can't ask the questions. So you can ask the questions. If you have any questions you would like to ask, please mention it. In the interim, I have Mr. Goke Zomotola's book. The book he was talking about, right? They're very limited because he didn't bring a lot. Sa, Minini. What's happen now? He bought like less than 10. Oh. See people here now. It's 5,000 naira and it's oh wow. I have one, sorry. So we only have like less than 9. Okay, where did the AC just go? Okay, we just did a switch over. Fantastic. Okay, so this is Mr. Goke's book. If you want it, please see Chukwuemeka afterwards. And we have other authors here in front of us. We have Madame Uri called Psychosocial. Oh, no, you're going to have to promote this because this is like a really funky name. You said. Okay, so she has 2 books. She has 2 books, and it's called Psychedelic. You have to tell me why it's called Psychedelic. You know that, right?
Okay, so the song you heard, the poetry I spoke at the end of it is a epilogue of one of my books, and then the song is also based on the book. And the beautiful thing about that particular song is I wrote it and produced it, but the lady singing with that great voice, she's on wheelchair, you know. And amazing, Grace Jerry, she has an amazing voice. So the first book is Psychedelic, So When Is It Okay? And the second one is Psychedelic, Give Me a Break. The third is coming out, yeah, Psychedelic. The third Psychedelic is coming out anyway, you know. But Yes, but basically it's a novel in verse. I write in verses, and it's a collection of short African stories. And honestly, it deals with a lot of the issues that we have discussed here. Psychedelic, the name. Okay, it's in Rowan Heights. It's also in Quintessence, but you can contact me. Yeah, yes, it's on Amazon. Sorry, it's on Amazon, and then you can contact me, and I could dispatch. It's 5,000 naira a copy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I wanted to, I like music, right? DJ, what's up, man? What's up, DJ? What's up, what's up? So I like music, but in the interim, are there any questions? Hi, will I have to be going around with this mic?
No, you don't.
That's walk on. Ah, thank God, thank God. All right, so, okay, so how will they speak? You'll be going around with the mic.
Yes, that's me.
Wonderful. Chuku Emeka. All right, so please indicate, place your hands. Over to you, ma'am.
So, I do not really have a question, but I just have an addition to the topic of the day from my own perspective. My name is Chief Elizabeth Jibono. I have never been a speaker on this forum, but I have participated. This is my third participation. The second was virtual. The first time I was here, I actually represented somebody. And the second time that my name was on the book, somebody represented me. So I just reminded Ijoma that I have never actually spoke on the Pride Conference. However, this is my contribution. In this journey of life, I see a lot of young, beautiful girls, women. I just want to leave one nugget. Sometimes, when you get to our age, like Onyeka and I and a few other women, you actually, like I did today, wake up in the morning and you cannot walk because the pain, the waist pain, the leg pain, the this pain, the way you slept, your body is hurting and you cannot walk. But then what do you do? What do you do? You become me. You step out in the highest heels that you find in your closet. You dare yourself and you wear it and you come out. Because, get this, it is a mind matter. You put your mind over the matter and you get over the pain for that day by doing the exercises that Onyeka talked about. I'm going to go for a 1 hour walk after I have won these hills today because it is a must every day. So no matter how young you think you are now, you can run around, you can bend, you can stand, you can do everything. Hey, 70 is calling. No, remember me when you get there. Wear your high heels. Thank you very much.
70's coming, oh. The lady in white.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ilobe Judith. So I have questions for two of the speakers, Mrs. Onyeka Onwelu and Dr. Annette Akeshete. So for Mrs. Onyeka Onwelu, well, you talked about what's not to love. And I'm a young girl that has, okay, let me not say has a problem, but then there's this issue where you come out as confident, you come out as intelligent, and then sometimes it's as if you cross the line. So how do you know when you're being confident and when you're just blatantly arrogant? And then the part of where you say you love yourself, right? But then sometimes some people say, oh, I'm loving myself. But in that point, you just feel like, okay, this person is being very selfish. You're not considering other people, how they feel. So how do you then draw the line between self-love and then being selfish and self-centered? So for Dr. Annette Akin...
Let her answer that first, and then you can answer the second one.
Thank you very much. I want to add, before I answer your question, I actually have a book, my memoir, called My Father's Daughter. And it's a book of stories you don't want to miss out. Roving Heights has it. It's on Amazon as well. And I believe Quintessence, unless they've sold all their copies. So please get a hold of it because you will find yourself in that book. Young lady, it's the difference between confidence and pride. Right? That's one of your questions. Arrogance. There are two different things. Confidence is saying, I know who I am. I know I have something to bring to the table. I know I'm trained for this job, and I know I can do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Arrogance is very much like what my sister Ngozi talked about. That competitiveness of, no, I'm better than you. I've got to be better than that person. I've got to be better than this person. They are two different things. But we often mistake them to be the same. They are not. And don't let anybody make you lose that confidence by making you think, oh, you are arrogant. You are not arrogant. You are just being who you are. You're just acknowledging what God has deposited in you. They are two different things. Does that help you?
Yes, and the self-love and then being selfish.
We are not selfish people by loving ourselves. I have stood in for every member of my extended family. I've raised my family on my own. I've taken care of, I've taken care of everybody. If I decide I want to go out to a restaurant and go and eat a particular kind of food, I do that, and I can go by myself, sit there, enjoy it, and then come home. That's not selfishness. I'll give you an anecdote, though. Again, my mom, having all these children around, one day she went and bought ishieu. And she didn't want to tell anybody. And she waited till we were all out, and she ate it all by herself. We only found out when she was constantly in the toilet. But I could understand. But let me cuckoo eat this issue and enjoy it. Because this child will come, you give. This person, you give. No, it's not selfishness. There are people who are selfish, quite all right. But taking care of yourself, loving yourself, going out to treat yourself to something that you really want. You've worked for it. You didn't steal any money to get it. You didn't prostitute yourself to get it. You just want to be nice to you. You are worth it and you deserve it. It's not selfishness.
All right, your next question is to the doctor.
Okay. No. Okay.
Two questions to the doctor.
Okay.
The doctor.
Okay. My question for Dr. Annette. So I was saying when you were saying the spring, the autumn, and so apparently by my age I'm supposed to be somewhere in summer, and then the way I was raised was to be able to have a conversation with anybody, irrespective of your level, right? So unfortunately, when I turned 21, not this year, but some year back, I realized, I told my mom, when my mates were playing, I wasn't playing. So I find myself in this situation whereby I realize that, well, we're not supposed to compare, but I do. And then you see that sometimes you are ahead of your mates in a lot of things. And it's not for your age. Basically, it doesn't fall within that age bracket. So where people in autumn are supposed to be is where my head kind of rotates around, right? And then I now realize I can't still move back or just sit and exist. So how do you just exist in that moment and not have that urge to just keep moving forward? Like just exist in your age, like try to enjoy what your age has to offer. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Is this loud? You know something? In mathematics, in statistics, they tell us about what we call a Bell's curve, a normal curve. 99%, depending on what you want to call justification, let me say 95% of the population fall within that bell. So you're an outlier. You're somewhere outside there. But be yourself. That's the whole point. And besides, this categorization I gave you today, spring, summer, autumn, or fall, and winter. It's fluid. It's fluid. You fall anywhere there, but the important thing is to be yourself. That's what, you see the common thread that ran through all the talks for today. Be yourself. Love yourself. Wherever you find yourself, you're situated. But there's something I need to say about Gen Z. Are you Gen Z? This famous, do you know about Gen Z? The Gen Z people? There's a sense out there, particularly for us, in our cultural space, that the Gen Z people are rude. Have you got that? Are rude people. Have you got that? Have you got that before? And that's because they're more assertive. But you see, you know something anyway? We are still, there's something that is ours that we must not lose. We are still Africans. So that's when people that say they're Gen Z and I work with them, they talk to me, yes, doctor, yes. I say, it's ma, yes, ma. So when you put ma, sir, whatever you're saying is fine. Just put that your ma, put that your sir. And the Yoruba people, oh my goodness, want tomato by oton. Tomato by oton, whatever they say after that, you can do no wrong. So do your ma, do your sir, and speak your mind. At any table, if they don't give you a chair, pull a chair. Sit down. That's where Emma Bino. You say your mind. Let your voice be heard. It would be a loss to mankind, not just for our community, if you stifle yourself. Because I see in you so much. There's that spark, that light. You can't say you want to go back to where you're. No. God has put something in you that you need to express. But do your sir, do your ma, don't lose it. Please, please. Please, don't, and also let's not lose who we are. We are respectful people. We respect age. We respect elders. Ma, sir, ekaro, joko. Speak your mind. Thank you. I think that's where you stand. And it's free. There's no categorization. It's free.
You got that, right? It's fluid and be yourself in the identity of being a Nigerian. Okay? I had to make an announcement. Apparently, there's food going all over the place, and I'm not having any yet. But we can't even eat here. Okay, so wait. You can't eat in the hall, so please wait, and then when we close for break, we can eat outside. Any other questions, please, so that the mic can go around? Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, the speaker. I greet you all. My question goes to Mommy Onyeka. She actually really said a whole lot of things that concerns me, and I'm like, wow. And I have this one question for her. And that question goes to about when she talked about the only offense she had was aura. And not just that, maybe to subordinate, but on my own side, it didn't just stop there, but including family members. And on that part, I actually want to get a clarification from Mommy to know how to handle such issues. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you. Oh dear, that's a difficult one with family. But I promise you one thing. You are not sent here so you can be in a toxic environment and have to put up with so much of it. Try to be accommodating, try to be understanding. But if it becomes impossible for you to function as a human being, I don't care who that other person is, separate yourself. Because toxicity can kill you. Whereby no matter what you achieve, it is not enough. It's not good enough. They are ready to bring you down, and you may brush it off every now and then, but cumulatively at the end of the day, it may just kill you. You are number one. You're the most important person to yourself. Just as they say, put on that gas thing in the airplane, save yourself before you can save anyone else. So I've learned that. Step away. If it is too toxic and you cannot manage it, even if they are family members, step away. Love them. Forgive them. Deal with them. Associate with them, but in certain areas, separate yourself. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Libye.
talking about being oneself and being assertive. You find yourself in an organization where you work and you find out some things are really going wrong. But because some group of people and the aim of affairs and they are benefiting from it, and you speak your mind, and you find out at the end of the day, because you spoke your mind, you were thrown out of the organization. You later found out, even from the owner of the organization, that it was concocted by those benefiting from it, that actually came and reported you and made you look bad, gave you a bad image. And you went to another organization, the same thing happened again, and trying to be yourself, that you speaking your mind that these things are actually wrong. And some people, just because they are benefiting from it, and you know, this thing just keep happening, and you realize that this is beginning to dampen your spirit and is beginning to give you some level of low self-esteem. How do you come out of it? How do you deal with it? Do you still go ahead when you find yourself in another organization to actually speak up when you find things going wrong? Or you just ignore and, you know, let it just slide, allow it to continue? Then the second question goes with you trying to love yourself. You are
Who's
trying
the first question for?
Sorry?
Who's the first question addressed to? You have to ask one of the speakers.
I think it's anybody can answer that.
Anybody, okay,
Yes,
fine.
anyone can. Then the second question is about loving yourself. You understand? You realize you are intelligent, you are hardworking, and you are trying to do your best, not just for yourself but those around you. You want to improve yourself. You look around you, you are trying a lot, and you find that it's not working. You want to improve yourself. You probably want to further education. You know you need finances. You are trying. You even have to bring down yourself, doing things you know that ordinarily maybe you've been up there and you have to bring yourself down because you want to make ends meet. You want to improve yourself, and it's not working. How do we to love yourself in that kind of situation? How do you come out of it?
Okay, so maybe I wasn't the speaker, but any of the speakers, but coming from the corporate world, what I would say, the first question. Coming from the corporate world, the first question, I would say, don't stop doing what is right, but do it respectfully. Just be respectful. Don't stop. Continue doing it. You have to continue. What is right is right. Just continue doing it. Because if you do something else, then you have an imposter syndrome. Just be you and do what is right. But be respectful as well. And pray. And be true to yourself. Then the second one of the speakers mentioned having a mentor is very important. When you have a mentor in your life, it's very important. It will help you, guide you. And your mentor should be somebody you feel confident. You can say anything. Mentorship is not just about your career. You can talk about because everything is holistic. Your family life, if you are not at peace, it's going to affect your job. So your mentor, you have to be very prayerful and be careful who you take as a mentor. Should be somebody you can open up to and say anything. It's not just about my work. What do I do? I'm not doing well at work, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Or if you're a student, I want to study this, I want to study that. You have to think about family when you're at work. You have to think about your spiritual life. You have to think about everything. Everything, you have to just be you. I see some people have they are different person in a different area. In the office, you are A. In the house, you are B. No, you have to be that one person. So you should have a mentor. A mentor will help you with that. I'm not saying the mentor will help you to build self-confidence, but when you have someone you can talk to, it's very important. Someone you can open up to is very important without holding back. Once you start holding back, you feel ashamed. And someone who is not going to judge you, because you don't want to be judged at this stage. Just open up and talk to. A mentor is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to have one more question. Because of the time factor, one more question, please.
Thank you very much. So first, I would like to thank the convener for this beautiful program. I have personally learned a lot. I've enjoyed myself. I would like to thank the great speakers, beautiful women, handsome man. Thank you for coming. You've done justice to the topics that you are given. So mine is not exact. It's not like a question, maybe food for thought, something that just occurred to me as I was listening, to some of the themes coming up in your talks. And that's competition. So it occurred to me when I was thinking about that word that it's kind of, maybe should I say, ingrained in our education system. So from the children, think of just little children going through school, there's the grading system, there is the structure, how the school grades their performance, first, second, third. So you are kind of competitive at that stage. You do sports, 100 meters race and everything, and it's about who comes first, who comes second. So it's kind of ingrained in you to be competitive as a child growing up and going through school in Nigeria, or well, I don't know, maybe that's a standard across everywhere. So it's like it's something that you almost have to kind of unlearn. It becomes more like a way of life, and you are maybe consciously having to unlearn that to really be yourself and focus on yourself, and then start to kind of have a mindset change that is not about what the other person is doing or how far the other person has gone, but there is value in me. I love myself. I can go at my pace. I can be who I want to be, and at my own time, God helping me. Not about the next person. So that's just my thought to say, oh, this is how we are wired, how we are structured, from how we have evolved, how we have developed, So really, can anything be done about that? The school system recognizing the negatives, of the grading system, recognizing the impact, the negativity it puts on people, and how they need to struggle to that in their adult age. So thank you so much. I've actually enjoyed being here. Thank you, speakers.
Yeah, can I say?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, yes, that was exactly what I was trying to say. You used the words, we have to relearn and we have to unlearn. And the grading system, I know that, one of the countries that have the best educational system in the whole world is Finland, and they do not grade. They don't grade. They don't grade primary school. They don't grade in secondary school. You can Google Finland. They have the best educational system in the whole world. They don't have a grading system, and and at the end of the day, yeah. I was just being distracted. Okay. No, I was just, yeah. Yeah, so I agree with you about the grading, system. It's another, if we have to talk about education and the grading system and the educational system and, things, because I'm pretty much, involved in education and all that, it's another topic altogether. But I do agree, about the grading system, the competition. You know why? The thing is, there are lots of children, right, that are very talented in other ways, but certainly may not come first in physics, chemistry, biology, And I was listening to a professor say that 10 years ago, he was always, if you asked him, what are the courses that you should study to give you an edge in life, he'd say engineering, engineering, and engineering, and engineering. But in recent times, he's come to understand the courses to study. There are no courses to study, but you know what? The key competencies, right? And the key competencies are the key competencies that the young people are developing and having today that is making them smile to the bank in thousands of dollars, And so the society is relearning and unlearning certain ways, and that is the buzzword, and life is about lifelong learning. Yeah, thank you.
I think in some ways, competition is a good thing. I think it's how you frame it and in what context. When you see a friend doing well, and you congratulate them. And you go to them and say, tell me how you got this done. Because I'm also thinking you want to learn something from them. That's good competition. It's complementary. No, it's more than that. Because you are also aiming to do that, the same thing. And you've complimented her on her achievement because you value her achievement. It doesn't stop you. Your own achievement does not stop the next person. But because of the way we've been socialized as women, we have that tug going on. Even men, but particularly women. Well, I'll have to speak as a woman. There is that competition. Sometimes it stops us from even being able to look at a person and say, oh, your book is wonderful. Because I think that if I tell you your book is wonderful, it takes away from mine, which is also wonderful. They're not the same book. We're not the same people. There's enough space in the sky for everybody to rise and be the best they can be.
Please, just to add to speaking to someone, one of my slides, I think my last slide, talk to someone, don't suffer in silence. If something is going on in your heart, in your mind that's troubling you, it could lead to depression, it could lead to clinical anxiety situations, and even severe, even psychosis. So while it's just coming up, speak to somebody, and it need not be, a mentor is great, but you have priests, you have spiritual directors, you have a teacher. You have at home, you have your mom, you have your dad, you have sisters, aunts. Maybe if you can't tell your mom and dad everything, you have aunties, you have cousins. Talk to someone. Do not keep it to yourself. Talk to someone, and eventually maybe talk professionally to a counselor. Professionally to a counselor. So speak to someone. Do not suffer in silence.
Okay, let me add to that again. Sometimes you do not trust anybody. Is that right? Sometimes you do not have anybody that you can trust to talk to. But I can tell you, what's going on? Okay. But I can tell you something that works when you don't find anybody to talk to, because you're obviously, well, you will, you will ultimately get to talk to someone. But you know what you do? A lot of times, people think that soliloquy, do you know what talking to yourself? The soliloquy is talking to yourself. Yes, they think it's madness. They talk to himself, don't decrease. You understand? No. You know what? You can talk to you, and then you can write. You can write. I can tell you, there is nothing, that is as therapeutic as writing down your fears. Your fears, your inhibitions, and everything. Let me just make a confession. So a lot of things I shared here, right, are coming out from one of my books that's coming out, and it's a super confidence book. It's titled Pushing Through the Voices. When I started writing that book, I heard so many voices. Who the hell do you think you are? You want to write a book on super confidence, right? Meanwhile, all you have just done is just to write 1 or 2 books. And now you think you want to write a book on super confidence. But guess what? The book is going to come out and you will see it. I was writing down everything I was hearing. I was writing. And it just kept on saying, look at you. By the time you get to chapter 3 now, you won't know what to write again on confidence. I wrote it down there, And I wrote it down. I wrote down my fears. I wrote down the voices. Because I was pushing through the voices. And I got to chapter 30 of the book. Yeah. So that is it. Write your fears. Write your doubts. Write. And write. Well, of course, you write your goals, you write your achievements, but write.
Or use artificial intelligence? No. You can't be using AI. That's not an AI thing. Okay, so now we are going to the presentation of plaques. I'm going to have to invite... drum rolls, please. No drum rolls. Chief Charles Anyemosigwe! Yes, over to you.
Wow. It's been a wonderful day. Sitting there in the audience and learning and unlearning It's been great, but that will be for the vote of thanks. I want to invite onto the stage the one and only, the beautiful, my beloved, EJ Love. Okay, wait. EJ Love, sit down. Sit down. A more delectable person is going to invite you up here. So, may I invite the beautiful, wow, Uri, Asan Petewanyoma.
Wow. What do we say when we have such a beautiful, delightful, eloquent? She is just a sweet breeze to look at. She, she brings, like when you look at Ijoma, she gives you a smile that lasts you for days. And so let us give a standing ovation to this epitome of grace, of charm, of beauty, of intelligence. This woman of excellence, yes, and has consistently shown her love and her desire and her drive for excellence and for the upliftment of women. Mrs. Ijoma Anyamosigwe.
You see, I say she go do am better than myself. All I go say, EJ Love, please step forward. So, it's really an honor to have all of you, speakers, chairperson, grace this occasion. And as a token of our appreciation, we will start. EJ Love, you present the chairman's plaque, the chairperson's plaque. My big sister and friend, and since you say you never speak, next year they come. Okay, hold on. When it's time to call you for presenting the plaque to Dr. Ofunne Nwanemwanj. Ofunne, Uri will call you. She's making my life very simple. So now you go to call everybody now. As I tell you the person, you go call them. So please step forward, our chairperson. Plaque here. Chairperson's plaque. Step forward. Where are the photographers? No be after you say, hold it. We no hold it too. Please step forward where they can see you. Come forward. Do I want to be in the photo?
On behalf of the Pride Women Conference, thank you so much for making us part of your day today and adding to the value of today. Helping us to be more than to learn how to be fulfilled and self-actualized. That's the word. Through Christ our Lord, we thank you, we pray, amen.
Okay, EJ. Hold on, stand by. You are the convener, no be me. So, Uri, over to you.
It's my singular pleasure to introduce this great woman of excellence. She is one of the most, when I say one of the most renowned women, when you talk about art in Nigeria, she's a foremost, art connoisseur. She is the founder of a Didi Museum, even the first private museum in the country, when we didn't even understand what private museum was. She is an excellent and elegance. You know, when you look at her, I call her a woman with electric elegance. Her finesse and her sophistication not be here. Mrs. Elizabeth Jibunor is one woman that has consistently and constantly, you know, held her head high in the society. She cuts across class, and she is very, very humble and unassuming. Her heart is so open and she's so kind, and yet this woman is an epitome of beauty and grace. Please let us give a round of applause and welcome her.
So, Dr. Mrs. Ofunne Akinsete, please step forward.
Dr. Ofunne, thank you very much for your presentation and adding your flavor to this most wonderful event. And I am sure the convener will agree with me that we need more of your wisdom in this. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Shake hands with you.
So, I think, Chinwe, you've always attended both online and in person since the beginning of this conference. To present the plaque to the one and only Adamazi. Adamazi. Do you know? Anyway, when I come to the thank you session, so this one a plaque. Adamazi, thank you very much. So, Chinwe, over to you.
Wow.
Chinwe has always been a supporter of the conference with her husband. And anyway,
Hello? Wow. This is awesome. This is a dream come true. Like, seriously. I can't believe it. Wow. You know, when I was coming in this morning, I was coming in with my son because I wanted my son to come for this program. And lo and behold, she was standing outside there. I was like, wow. That's him there. I said, do you know that woman there? He said, no. I said, this is, you know, I hero worship her. You know, I started telling him everything about her. Only for me to be given the privilege, the honor. You know, it's the universe. The universe is just, you know, at times when I see you in a banner supermarket, I'll just be looking at you from afar. Honestly, that's to tell you how much I love this woman. And I'll be looking at her and say, wow, this is Onyeka Onwelu. Ma, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure meeting you. And Uncle Charlie, thank you so much for granting me this opportunity to present this to you. Thank you so much, ma, for every song you sang. You might think you were just singing, but we were speaking to some people at the other side. And may God Almighty keep blessing you and keeping you strong in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, ma. Can I give you a hug? Sure, ma.
You know, hello. You know, when you are given a job like this, because I stand side by side with TJ Love, because this is her conference, Abby. But I always come to support. No be so. It, this one, at this conference this year, you know, every year we try to bring a male speaker. Adegoke was the blessed amongst women. So, Adegoke, you step forward. But the thing be say, I wanted to call one of my wife because, you know, my mother has 7 sons and we had 7 wives for 7 brothers. Now, this my sister, Uri, where they support me offline and online. We are together. She say, my beautiful black beauty sister must do the award presentation as well. So this man, you be popular. So you are having my sister-in-law standing on one side. Neka. You are coming to present this award to him. Then my sister-in-law will step aside to present to the final speaker. Binopiso. This black beauty, hey. You know, somebody said on this platform that Nigerian women, we know, una no board last. Una they find too much. Thank God my mama tell me, say, if you marry more than 2 wives, you don't get wife. Because all the beautiful women, they date too much. But thank God, it's a love. I just stay there. So, please, introduce her. Biko.
Okay. You can see she's already here. And we all agree that I personally call her the Ebony Queen. Am I wrong? She's an Ebony Queen. She's a mother, and she is a woman leader. She really, really stands by women. She's a lawyer by profession. She's a beautiful wife of Dr. Chris Asoluka. Neka Chris Asoluka. Neka has raised fantastic children. I'm always so proud of her. Neka's daughter is one of the youngest CEOs in Africa's, you know, biggest social investment company. Neka's, I mean, like, what can I say about Neka? But above all, she's kind, she's gentle, she's lovely. And I'm delighted she's my friend and my sister.
Wow. Uri, I barely recognize myself with that intro. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Beautiful ladies on the high table. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. This is my second time of attending Prime Conference, and then she's the one that introduced me to this conference, and I'm so happy I'm here today. And I came with a friend. I called her. I said, you have to be here with me today because I think you will benefit from what is happening here today. And, you know, I'm not disappointed. Everything I think this year was, you know, well, let me not say a lot better than last year, but they're more with the, you know, the speakers and all that, you know, more narrative added, you know, more things for women to learn, empowering women, both in their spirit and in their character. If I start today to talk about women and women issue, I will not stop. So I think I'll just go ahead And I'm honored to be the one to present this to the blessed among women, as she has been called. Yes. You know, when he was giving his presentation and he said 14 years ago, I was looking at him. I said, 14 years ago? How old were you 14 years ago? You, wow. Wow, you are really, really blessed. Congratulations. On behalf of the Pride Women Conference, I want to say a big thank you for being one of the speakers today on emotional well-being. You did very well. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much. And on behalf of everybody here, I say thank you. Yeah. He said it.
So we are coming to the one and only. Do you know, as I said, online and offline, we are together. I may have an issue and I say, I better call this madam, this my sister, maybe we should talk. And once in a while she will call me and we'll be talking Nigeria. Don't call me Nigeria again, no, before I get headache. So, but Uri, you are such a wonderful person. It's been a pleasure knowing you. And the journey will continue. Even Sote, Uri don't adopt my family and my family adopt. She and Chukwemeka na direct die. So she and my wife direct die. So your personality, since we met up, we've gotten on so well. And it's a journey and an enjoyable one. And may God bless the journey. So, I want to call on my beautiful wife. Where is that girl? Now me go marry her, no be lie. This is the seventh bride of the seventh wonder, my mama's baby boy. So now me carry the pami. When my papa say we go marry, now me lead delegation. My darling wife. You know, from day one, where her sister, they do this thing. He never miss one. She has come to every single one of these functions. In person, no be virtual. So, because the person you are presenting it to is a member of the family as well, Uri. That's why I say now you go give her. So, Uri, please step forward.
I am indeed humbled. All right. On behalf of the Pride Women Conference, I think it's a privilege, really. And I'm actually honored to present this award to you, my sister. Sorry. Oh, this way. Welcome for coming.
So we are finished with the plaques. Where that my sister will be moderator, where she did? Group photos. The black beauty in the audience, Neka, Chris, Asoloka. When you stood on this platform and you said, if I start talking about women, I know go finish. You are going to come here next year and you will talk about women. But you better finish, because now 15 minutes to say everything you have to say. So please, I hope you will honor our invitation for you to be part of it next year. And also, this my sister, she traveled too much. I don't know whether you will be around to now make your own presentation in person. Are you going to be around? So you are going to be here next year as well. Inshallah. So, another thing. Waiting be that your name, where your papa they find you for phone. Alfred. The Alfred supporter is in the same inspirational talking. So Alfred supporter, you will come next year so that Alfred will come and support you by sitting where you are sitting. So we have already got 3 of our speakers in the audience. So you will know what you will miss if you don't come next year. Alfred. That was, I enjoyed your talk, your openness about your third class degree. But now, wow. Okay. Me, I no go school. So group photographs now with the speakers. Okay. Okay. Ije love. Emeka, where is Emeka?
Don't be sad, understand. Everybody has a day and the sun stays away. Take heart in a new tomorrow. A little more love between makes for a brighter day. Never need worry, let one love set you free. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. Somebody tell me, oh, why we fight it? One love can set us free if we just let it be. Take off in a brand new day. Good love is all we need to take the clouds away. Never need worry if you just let it be. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. One love, keep us together. Living in a world, it's a struggle to stay alive. You never need worry, no, no.
Up for us.
Thank you very much. Please, can we have a seat? We started this journey together, so we're going to end it together. Please, let's have a seat. It's going to take us just about less than 5 minutes. We'll be done. It's been an amazing almost 3 hours. The journey has been quite good. We've enjoyed it. We've been on a cruise, a really fantastic cruise. And we have now completed our agenda for this year's conference and have come to the end of our insightful gathering. The theme of this event was self-love, key to emotional well-being, and we have heard all what our fantastic speakers have said on various strategies and importance of nurturing self-love and finding emotional stability in the fast-paced world. I sat there listening to all the speakers. It was amazing. because I realized that we're all just speaking on the same thing. It's like we share the topics amongst us, but most of us don't know each other. So it was God at work here today. Self-love is something we sometimes take for granted. We forget that in as much as we want to make an impact in our various capacities as mothers, wives, employees, or leaders, we cannot achieve an excellent balance if we keep neglecting our personal well-being. We are also worthy recipients of kindness and love. It has nothing to do with pride or ego. It is basic self-care. As earlier mentioned, let us take care of ourselves. Self-love more serious. Let's take self-love more seriously for the sake of our emotional well-being. We need a balanced being to function in this world, especially what is going on in Nigeria and in the world. Mental health is key. Sometimes the smallest action have the greatest impact, as to help when in need, relax when you feel exhausted. Women, we don't know how to relax. So we need to relax. Develop a daily mantra, one that would uplift you. I said this earlier. So we need to do that. Look at yourself. Basically, most of the speakers mentioned that. Affirmation is key. The power of affirmation, positive talk is key. So if there's one thing you take away from here, is the power of affirmation. We need to use it. Let us keep raising awareness of the continuing need to make mental health a priority. I thank you all for your gracious presence and interest in emotional wellness. My sincere gratitude goes to our wonderful speakers, amazing women, wonderful women, beautiful women, awesome women, gracious women, and the wonderful Alfred for their valuable insight and advice. Finally, thank you to Pride Magazine, Nigeria, for putting this conference together. I speak a lot at conferences, but when I got this invitation for emotional wellness, I said, okay, something different. I'm in the energy world. So I go around different countries preaching and talking on energy. But when I hear of the well-being, mental health, I was really excited because I think we need that balance. I also want to congratulate you on the success of the 7th edition of your annual Pride Women Conference. To keep this for 7 years, you're doing a great job. And you have a hall full of people who have come to listen to this. It's amazing. Your unfailing effort in empowering and celebrating women is truly commendable. Well done, ma. I hope we take all that we've learned here today and put them to great use. Thank you once more. And I would also like to use this opportunity and advocate for young girls in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I see so many. I was so excited when I saw a lot of young women here. I'm in the energy sector, as I said earlier, and I'm pushing for women. I initially created, I co-chair an initiative that is promoting energy entrepreneurs in the world, not just in Nigeria, to actually come forward and collaborate. And also pushing, make sure women's voices are heard. Women are on the board of not just small companies, but of multinationals. And also pushing for young girls to, in the industry, there are very few women in the energy industry. So we need women. So if you are interested in STEM and you're in the university, please make sure you reach out. You can reach out. You can meet Emeka. Emeka can handle that. I'm encouraging young girls, young women. Our voices need to be heard in the industry. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. A vote of thanks by Chukwuemeka.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank all of you for your patience coming here today, beginning with all our speakers. Thank you very much to our amiable chairperson, Mrs. Grace Orife. I'd like to thank Dr. Aneta Kinshete, Uringozi Chukuka, Mr. Gogeko Amotala, Ms. Onyeka Onwenu, our wonderful host. Please, can we give her a round of applause? She has been wonderful, hasn't she? Please, let's give a round of applause. All our sponsors, Nigerian Bottling Company, we all got nice Coke, water, Eva Water, Fanta. Thank you. They even came to, they were here from the beginning. Olukem is a brand manager with them. Olukem, their CSR team. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Intercontinental Distillers, Stanbic IBTC, Just Right, Dallas Cosmetics. Thank you all to our media partners, to Lagos Moms. Lagos Moms have been with us since the 3rd edition. Total Gossips have been with us from the start. Post Nigeria has been with us from the 3rd edition as well. Wives and Mothers, Eagle Online, Pride Magazine Nigeria, Arise News. Also want to thank May and Baker, Development Standards, Yoshigwanya Moshigwe Foundation, and most importantly to all of you seated here and to the Almighty God for making this possible. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's a wrap. Thank you.
Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. With a new and improved taste. It's Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. With a new and improved taste. It's delicious and refreshing. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. You need to try it first.
Fortunately, we have more fixed bands. With its elastic band that can stretch in all ways to fit well on babies, it does not lose its form, does not sag, so there's no need to change diapers frequently. Our games continue. Come on, mothers, try more fixed bands. Join our happiness movement.
Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. With a new and improved taste. It's delicious and refreshing. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. You need to try it first.